tripping. Yo! Hi. Hello. Good to see you. Hi, my waffles. Hi, Dilgar. What's up? Ellen Aura. What's good? Hi. How's everybody going? Hope you had a good day. I have had a good day. Is Atrioc shirtless a problem? Oh, I'm a problem, all right. Well, you know what? Give me 8 more months. Denim on denim. You don't even see what I'm wearing. You don't even see my pants yet. Dramatic Justice. How the fuck do you think I have denim on denim? You don't even see my bottom. Are you fucking stalking me? They're not even on camera. So you don't know if it's denim on denim. Are we wrong though? I'm not going to show you. The point is you don't have proof. You don't know. You don't know what I'm wearing because it's not on screen. So, well, you wish you knew what I was wearing, but I'm not. You got that jorts face. You got that jorts. No, blue jeans. Look in your eye. We'll find out when you stand up to do coke. It's gonna surprise you how not denim on denim I am. So your intel's wrong. Atrioc, can you make a denim Sigma tank as your next merch drop? I was hoping to bankrupt myself, so that would speed things along. LT Pat, thank you for the 37 months. Jeesh. LT Pat, I don't know that. I feel like I've never thanked you. As God is my witness, I feel like I've never heard your name once, and you're on a 35-month streak. I feel like I've never said your name one time. LT Pat doesn't even ring. Doesn't even ring right to me. That is true. You have not. All right, let me check your chat history. Oh wait, this is your chat history. This is your chat history 6 months ago. You said, Atrioc, I just did 18 months and you have never said anything ever. Been doing this 19 months and have never been thanked ever. Wow, that just hits. That hits right away. All right, well, you know what? Sincere apology. LT Pat, what can I do for you? Is there a question I can answer? Is there something I can offer you? I feel like you really, 37 months is a sincere contribution to the stream. I sincerely appreciate it. I feel like I have not. I'm looking at your chat history. What else have you done? Your previous chat message was a month before that. You said, I am the best chatter. Then you waited a month before talking, and then out of nowhere, only chat message for that day, nothing for a week before or a week after, you said, improvise, adapt, overcome. That's it. That's all you said. Then you didn't talk. I don't know what that means or was in reference to, but you did say it. Then dude, you actually don't chat that often for someone who subs that much. You go back to 2021, you're telling me how scared you are that I'm going to offend the Elon stands. You got all these messages about, hey, Truck, you're going to offend the Elon stands. And it's like, bro, little did you know. Like that. 2021 was, I think all I said in 21 was like, I think Tesla's a little overvalued. I think that's all I said in 21. I said a lot more when he bought Twitter, bro. Look up the stats. What is this? Yeah, okay. Well, that's interesting. You really have a powerful chat history here. You loved the Batman stuff. Your first chat message ever was in 2020, December, when you said, this is your first chat message. Believing isn't about the channel points. It's about hope. It's about knowing that you're part of something bigger than yourself, something important, something impactful, something you can tell your kids about and be proud. What the fuck were you believing in 2020 December? I don't. All right. Well, cool. Now that I've audited your chat history, what did you what? Okay, I'm looking at what you're asking me now. You're saying, oh, it's been a long time. You can please stop. My one thing would be stop. Stop, that would be enough. I regret popping in today. Oops. Sorry. Apologies. All right, but that's what you get, all right? You get the full spotlight. That's what the thank yous are here. They're sincere. They're real. They're raw. Teach Aiden. Thank you for the 6 months. Hi, Big A. Hi, chat. How are you guys doing? What's going on? Has anyone got anything that happened today that you want to tell me about that I can riff off of and make fun of you for? Sort of cut to the core of it. Is there something I can make fun of you for? Or spin off into a different subject? New to Twitch, why does Atrioc stream so late? It's because I live in a different time zone than you. Straight up, I think if you lived in Pacific time, California, America, you would say this is a pretty good time to stream. It's like a good way to wind out your day. But unfortunately, you probably don't. And so you're like pissed at me for something I can't control. I played Pal World for 12 hours straight. Pal World, fiend, still going. I checked the chart. It's the player count's still way up, so it's certainly. I think it's already doing better than New World did for its thing. I can't believe it's been 3 months. I'm still waiting on my first words. Thank you for the 3 months, Kaito Garlic. Yesterday, I ate an entire 12 box of Cliff Bars, and today my guts were destroyed. How's that for TMI? I've actually been there, bro. I actually been there. Did I tell a story on stream of how, this is like pretty recently, I ate nothing but 2 gigantic 3-pound bags of beef jerky. That was my whole day. I just ate beef jerky. And then, yeah, I was like just intensely sick. My body could not digest all that beef jerky. It was really bad. Yeah, I was like... how could you see it coming? Exactly. How could I possibly have seen that coming? The problem is there was no warning sign. There's nothing that everybody thought beef jerky was amazing for you. What, are you a vegan? Why can't you eat jerky? No, I can eat jerky. I think the idea is that there's so much sodium or something. If you eat that much beef jerky and nothing else, that your body can't digest it and it starts freaking out. Yeah, you just can't do it. You need something to go with it. You know, there was some WebMD searching I did. I didn't really get the bottom of it, but I felt fucking terrible. I put $100 into Public when you did the sponsorship a while back. Now it's at $14.58 Gamba. When you say you put $100 into Public, you invested in Public, the company stock, or you put your bet on things? Public is, the ad read was for a brokerage platform. You could put money in to buy. What did you buy? Okay, you bought, okay, but I didn't, because I didn't give stock recommendation. That's the one thing I don't do, because I don't want people to come into me and be like, hey, Atrioc, I bet on something, and then, my $100 into the stock market is now $130 after 1 year, doing pretty good. That is pretty good. That is pretty good. I mean, I don't, I just don't want you to think like, okay, I've solved it. I've cracked the market. I'm now better than the 30% is very good, but I'm just saying you've beaten a lot of professional hedge fund managers. You have beaten a lot. It's tough to do it. Tough to do it at scale. I do remember Dr. Battle telling me his plan to get rich was to buy 2 shares of Budweiser. Or what? Anheuser-Busch. Which I think he bought. Yeah, I think I think it's exactly flat. But even if it had doubled, he would have made $50 or whatever, you know. So, my free Public Nvidia stock doing real well. Berkshire Hathaway, more like Burke Snore Blowaway. Stick it to him, Jair. Stick it to fucking Warren Buffett's old ass, dude. You're crushing him. You're absolutely crushing him on the field of ideas and the financial markets. I'm just deeply impressed. You got 1 free share of Nvidia. That's pretty good. That's incredibly good. What, they give you $600 for free? That's amazing. I'm so scared of having any money in this market. I'm selling my Amazon RSUs as they vest. No advice on that either way. Because I did the opposite, but in a different time. When I worked at Amazon, I kept everything, and my friends told me to sell them, and then I didn't sell them, and then I made a bunch of money because I held. But like Atrioc, do you think Putin grinds Power Worlds? I do not. Do you want my honest opinion? I'm no expert on Vladimir Putin. Oh, wait, I have a fucking interesting Vladimir Putin story. Wait. Geopolitics Gary here. I've been reading so much. There was a very interesting story in the FT this morning. I was reading at the cafe. There was a well, I'll show you. This was crazy. So yeah, I need the image of the yeah, this is it. So you know how Russia is in a war with Ukraine. It's wartime in Russia. They've lost a lot of men in this war. It's a brutal, bloody conflict. Question marks? Really? Surprise? Yes, there's a war. But, you know, the people not in the war in mainland Russia, again, the goal, I think, has been to insulate them from many of the effects of the war so they don't get mad at Putin. So people have been chilling. And the celebrity, there's still Russian rappers and actors and dancers and movie stars and everything, all right? So one of these Russian celebrities hosted a party at a Moscow nightclub called the Almost Naked Party. And the idea was everyone that shows up at the party has to look as close to naked as possible. That was the idea. So they wore like see-through lace with diamonds on it. They wore, you know, Speedos or whatever. One rapper showed up wearing just a sock over his dick. That's the idea, okay? That's the kind of party. Anyway, it's just celebrities hanging out, having fancy sex party, right? Whatever. Not even a sex party. It's like literally like a fashion edge party. This party hits the mainstream news in Russia, and people are so mad. It's just unusual amounts of hate, public and governmental hate. They're like running 24/7 news stories about how terrible the people at this party are. Putin is talking about it. And so everyone all these celebrities that went to the party have like lost all of their sponsorships. Some of them are getting jailed. Some of them are getting, tons of public backlash and having to they're having to do like crying apologies. It's insane. It's a touchstone moment for Russia's increasing social conservatism. But it's basically like, this like became a huge scapegoat for like, I don't know, during wartime. And so, yeah, it's like happening right now, which is, yeah, the fallout is for a need for scapegoats in Russia's political system. Up until now, the scapegoats have included Ukraine, the US, the UK, the EU, and NATO, but now it seems some Russian celebrities on the list. Yeah, they just seem, I guess, out of touch, but they're getting like way more. Yeah, she got fined a ton. She got fined $10 million for moral suffering. Or she's getting sued for 10 million. For our soldiers in the front line are definitely not fighting for this. Yeah, anyway, very insane story coming out of Russia. At that point, you just flee the country. Man, if you're like a Russian rapper, where are you... I'm going to be honest with you, where are you going? If you are a Russian rapper, where's your audience? If you're not going to work in Russia. Ukraine? You think that's going to go over well? Russian rappers got the heat. Kanye looking for a duo, I heard. Yeah, I think Kanye West and a Russian rapper, a Russian canceled rapper, would be a real heat album. Did you see the Russian government is investigating skibbity toilet videos for demoralizing the youth? I don't know if it was demoralizing, but I did see, we talked about it on stream. It was something. Something about skibbity toilet. I do feel like skibbity toilet has a very like Eastern European aesthetic. I feel like it would play well in the fucking Eastern Bloc. It just because it has that whole Half-Life 2 City 17 type yeah, it's Half-Life 2 based, so it's yeah. Just steal a highly classified Russian jet and land it in Japan. How many subs to recreate episode 1 of Skibbity Toilet? What would that entail? Do I need to get inside of a toilet? Because then I don't think I'll do it. Gemini, GG, thank you for the prime. Anyway, what's going on? Let's wait. Eastern Europe is also dominated by the Soviet Union and never will be under a Ford administration. What? Ford? Have you seen the former chess world champion Vladimir Kramnik has basically gone crazy on Twitter accusing everyone of cheating online? No. Who's he accusing? Like Magnus? Who? Vladimir Kramnik. Is assuming that everyone online is cheating. That explains why every time I queue up on chess.com when I'm on the toilet, I don't win. That actually explains it. Like, sometimes I put my queen out there and they just take it. And it's like, how did they see that? How did they know? How did they catch that so quickly? Levy made a video about it. Did he put Magnus Carlsen in the thumbnail? Because if not, I can't watch it. I have a very strict Magnus only thumbnail chess policy where I will only click a video if it's got Magnus's beautiful face in it. Atrioc, did you see that Putin claims the Alaska land deal was illegal and Russia has a right to it? You know what, Putin? Come and take it over our Zoomers' dead bodies. Okay? I volunteer all Zoomers in this chat and around the world to join the draft, take up arms, and defend Alaska. Okay? You'll have to grind through the lives of every single Zoomer that I know to get to this Alaskan territory. Woo, baby! Alaska, Putin. Did he actually say that? I don't see. State Department response to Putin on Alaska. Certainly he's not getting it back.
Today signed an order declaring a 1983 sale of Alaska to the United States as illegitimate, quote unquote. Do you have a response to that?
To me, just understand that he signed something today that said the sale of Alaska is illegitimate.
Right.
Well, I think I speak for all of us in the U.S. government to say that certainly he is not getting it back.
No take backs, bro. No take backs, bro. No. Deal's a deal. Deal's a deal, bro. He can have it. It's close to Canada. Nixon, as Gods Among Men is finally about to arrive. My family gifted it to me on Christmas, but Amazon fucked up. I'm glad you're about to get it because I'm finally about to read it again. I read fucking 2 chapters and stopped because I forgot it when I went home for Christmas, and I have not picked it up again. I need to finish it. I also want to ask the guy for an interview. I will be doing that. I've been sort of stalling because of what's the point of Alaska? I mean, Alaska, if nothing else, serves as a great place for getting oil. If nothing else. And also it's near a geostrategic rival in Russia, so that's nice. What was he saying? Russia wanted back? Russia wanted Alaska, but not wanted, but apparently Putin signed something or something that like the sale of Alaska to America was illegitimate. And then, you know, with the climate warming, it's plan B for when the the plan for Alaska is to turn it into farmland in 40 years. It'll be the fucking Green Plains. Alaska. It's like the Corey in the House episode where he had to win Alaska back from Russia through a dance-off. What's crazy is I don't know enough about Corey in the House to dispute that. Is that a real episode? That could be real. It doesn't sound real. Corey in the House, Russia dance-off. Oh my God, this is real.
If you must know, Miss Nosy, I'm playing Step Party Tech. It's a video game where you gotta follow the dance steps, but you get extra points for making up your own. Now watch me score high.
Can I turn it up?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is 22 minutes, bro. Let's get the gist. What happens? Well, first we got to watch this great intro. It is 4 pixels. What? It's so.
Listen now. Here we go. I'm the new kid moving in.
I'm sorry. I really didn't understand this. Corey in the House means he's in the White House? The house that Corey is in is the White House this whole time? His dad is the president. Oh my God. I really think I missed out on a great show here. What an interesting... Oh, his dad is the president's chef. Why would he live in the house? I don't think the chef and his family lives in the house. Plot? Stop asking questions. Okay. Okay, so let's get the gist of it here. Corey somehow meets with a Russian ambassador who's stolen Alaska and then has to do maybe a final dance battle.
And Air Force One, gotta go.
Corey!
Look, there's nothing to worry about. He stinks. I totally hustled him.
No! He hustled you, man! Shoes Off is the Step Party Tech champion of Russia 5 years running. His nickname is Crazy Legs Shoes Off.
I'll go back. What am I gonna do?
I don't know why it's cut off.
Nana! You're gonna go out there and win.
What? How?
You're gonna do the Sophie Shuffle.
I can't.
I never want to hear that word. You can and you will. Just let your feet feel the beat.
Right. No one's getting Alaska on my watch.
Yeah!
This is, you guys remembered this? Or is this like a known meme? You just remember this episode where Shoes Off.
You pretty good at this, Mr. Prime Minister. Or should I say, Crazy Legs?
Oh, so you know about that? Well, then I must show you how I got that name.
This guy's it's not Russian.
My star blow up, but I do. A Moscow mash. Mako, Moscow.
Holy shit.
Dang. I didn't know you could score that high.
Looks like
Okay, there's too much left. I suppose he wins and gets Alaska.
he's take jacket back.
This is the president?
Vladimir, no. I want you to keep this jacket as a gesture of friendship. Big hug?
Big hug.
Oh, I'm sorry.
True story?
I just got caught up in
This
the
is how,
moment.
yeah, this is the closest America and Russia have ever been.
Big hug.
Why doesn't Ukraine do this? Why doesn't Ukraine have a dance-off with Vladimir Putin to determine the fate of their nation? Probably because he knows the Moscow Mash. Do you understand? Zelensky can't do the Moscow Mash. American-Russian relations, wish they could be this good? Yeah, exactly. I think we were peaked there. Don't... Is this why Gen Z is the way that it is? I can't imagine we blame Corey in the house for that. That's just good old-fashioned all-American fun. I think everyone that watched that show is better off. Is there anywhere to send in actual good ads? I mean, you can just drop them here or drop them on the Reddit. We're going to watch videos today. I mean, Get Smarter Saturdays, but I'm just vibing for a bit, talking, seeing what's up. See if anyone's got any crazy news. I want to tell you about that Russia thing. I thought I might play the button pushing game. I saw an interesting thing about layoffs, but also I feel like we talk about that too much, so maybe I was going to skip it. Talk about a different time. Yo, Atrioc, just wanted to say I like the new haircut, brother. I am wearing a hat. I'm wearing a hat. I'm wearing a hat. I'm wearing a hat. So you can't tell. And also, I didn't get a haircut. Did you hear that X.com, Twitter, got a $10 million tax break from Atlanta because they promised to create 24 jobs? That would not surprise me. That would not surprise me. That is huge. That is fucking huge. Big A, I love your jeans. I'm not wearing jeans. I'm not wearing jeans. Stop asking about my jeans. This is my favorite Nike ad if you're interested. Winter State. We talked about this. I've seen this, bro. It's a great ad. We've shown this on stream, but we could watch it. We'll see. Atrioc, could you create 24 jobs for $10 million? I could do better. I could do 25, Atlanta, if you're offering. I could get 25 jobs. Oh, speaking of jobs, Mike's hardest, think of the 23 months and all the songs, brother. Speaking of jobs, there's a literal job offer that I'm putting out into the world for any nerd in chat that has free time and likes to read. In that, never mind, not me. Never mind. There's a book. There's a book called damn, I'm not even sure if I'm finding it again. It's called the fuck, dude. Oh, it's Problem. There it is. It's a book called The Problem of 12 by John Coates. I will show you the image. I think this book is interesting and relevant, but I don't have time to read it. So rather than say I'm going to read it and then have to delay for a long time, I am thinking, because I want to read the As Gods Among Men. I have to finish that. I'm trying to do that so I can get the interview. So if somebody reads this, legitimately reads this, and then makes a presentation about what it's about to me in chat, I will give them a cut of whatever we use for the YouTube video. We'll literal do this. It's a literal book report. I'm not going to ask Dr. Battle to do it because he will actually make a battle report and not read it. I'm legitimately want someone to read the book, make a presentation on what it's about in a way that we can understand. Ideally, maybe learn from Marketing Mondays, try to make it approachable so average chatters can understand. And then I would love to see it. That's my honest take. So this is a book report job offer because I really want to read it and I don't have time. I won't get to it soon. Obviously, if multiple people submit, I'm going to pick the best one, and that's up to my discretion. So if you make one and it's dog shit, or you chat GPT'd it and you're like, well, where's my money? That's the problem, okay? I'm not going to do it. So only do it if you already want to read the book. If you think this is good, I think it's good practice. If you're interested in presenting. Yeah, it's a cool 200 pages. It's not even bad. When do you need it done by? Whoever reads it and makes a good presentation first, I think I'm just going to do it. But I need some details on the job, like vacation days, benefits, company car, etc. Obviously, everyone who makes a book report will receive a free company car. Is a Ferrari good enough, or do you want a Maserati? Porsche is fine. A McLaren, please. Dude, McLaren reminds me of when I picked up XQC to drive him to the show the one time. And I had talked about on my stream that remember the first time I drove him to the show, he spent the whole car ride talking about his McLaren while we're in my Honda Fit. And then he saw the clip of me making fun of him for that. And then so next time I picked him up, he walked around my whole car and he's like, sheesh! Holy shit, sheesh! Like the rims! It's actually funny. He's a funny guy. Crazy guy, insane guy, and I have a story I got to tell eventually. But that cracked me up. Hey, Big A, I'm talking to a publisher for my video game on Monday. How should I convince them to give me money / a good split? Well, therein lies the rub, my friend. The more you want money, the more split they're going to want. That's your problem. Be careful with publishers as an indie game, bro. That's certainly a rising area of not necessarily fraud, but a way to lose control of the upside of your game for not too much work on their end. The main thing a publisher should do for you is help get interest in your game. I mean, the marketing is a huge aspect of it. There's like the stuff like getting it on stores and stuff is easy to do. So self-publishing in that respect is not too hard. So a lot of publishers will take a big cut and not offer too much in return. Be careful. Unless you think you're going to get more, I don't know. Don't it's not like, don't fall into the young music artist signing with a label type beat where you're just like, oh, this is so big for me. I'm getting signed with a label. That guarantees me success. And then you give up all your upside and don't get in especially nowadays, you can indie publish easier than ever before or self-publish easier than ever before. So yeah. Have you read Rick Rubin's book about creating? I have not. Hey, Big A, I know you're a Liquid Death guy, and this guy explains a bit about it and where the idea came from. I could watch that. I am drinking Liquid Death right now, but I mean, it's just water in a can with good marketing. It's one of the reasons I like it. It's the most pure marketing vehicle of all time. They literally just said water is lame. We'll make it cooler. I mean, it's so insane that it worked. Have you seen this Japanese Louis Vuitton ad? No, I haven't, but Louis Vuitton CEO Bernard Arnault is the richest man in the world again today. off a huge rise in luxury stocks. The predicted death of luxury goods has not materialized. They're still selling quite well. LVMH went up. Tesla, of course, is also having a fucking bad couple months. And so Elon is losing money, and Bernard Arnault is gaining money comparatively. My Get Smarter Saturdays for the last 2 years, my suggestion for 2 years, has been Napoleon oversimplified. I am now so lost with what to spam. Well, I'm glad you did, if it was you that caused it, because I'm on a super history kick. I'm fucking history pilled. I am war pilled and history zoned. And yeah, I watched Historia Civilis today. I fucking I don't know. I'm on a fucking history kick, bro. History already happened though. Lamau. True. Guess I'm out of it. Yeah, I'm definitely on a kick. I'm rabbit holing. Hey Shrek, have you seen this Nissan ad by a YouTuber? It's a legitimate, incredible short form ad. If it's short form, let's watch it. This is an incredible short form ad for Nissan by Kyle Nutt. Okay.
My window.
How do I full screen this bad boy? Whatever, we'll watch it like this. Kyle Nutt, what do you got for us?
A recent flight and saw this massive red lake that looked absolutely insane. I knew I had to take a photo shoot there, so the second I got home, I picked up some of my astronaut friends and headed out to go find it. It took us over 4 hours driving through the middle of nowhere and multiple security checkpoints to get there, but eventually we made it. I wanted to have the astronaut walking through the sea of red, but the ground was like quicksand and my friend kept getting stuck in the slush. We finally found a way into the water and started taking some photos, but you couldn't really tell the water was that red, so I launched my drone into the air and could not believe how insane the footage looked.
I have not mentioned Nissan at all yet.
I was so stoked with the drone footage that I decided to get a few more shots at sunset and accidentally clipped a bush and completely ripped one of the arms off my drone. I wouldn't have thought a quick glance out my plane window would take me on such a crazy journey, but hey.
This is a terrible ad. This is a good video. This is what YouTubers have figured out how to do. Popular YouTubers have figured out that if they're likable and they have a engaged audience, they can kind of sneak ads into shorts to get paid huge amounts and get lots of views. But like the person being milked here is the brand who got nothing from this. Like this is not moving units of Nissan, bro. This is completely, especially in the format people are seeing when they're scrolling this, they're not going to remember the car brand. He didn't even say it out loud, which is crazy. So, yeah, I mean, this is great for content creators who have figured out this method. And here's the reason this works so well is because at the brand level, the marketing manager who hired this or like paid for this gets to tell their boss, yeah, our paid promo got a fuck ton of views. Where did this get? Millions of views? 615K likes. This is highly engaged. We're crushing. It's insane. But they do that by not having this thing be an ad. Like, do you understand? So that person gets a pat on the back or a promotion or a raise, or, you know, they're doing well. Their boss is happy. But, you know, the further back you get, you realize this didn't actually move any units and we spent money on it. But then sales don't go up. Yeah, exactly. So that's fairly common, and shorts have become a great way for that. Check out this well-researched presentation about everything. What?
It seems
about GPT-5 and what's going to happen. Could be interesting. Maybe I'll think about it. BRB buying a Nissan.
a number of
this is that interesting Big Think video on male inequality that I kind of wanted to watch after yesterday. I got more people reaching out. And I did a little more research. It was an interesting topic. We will see. We will see. I would love to learn more about it, but I don't want to start with that. I want something more fun. Something more fun. The discussion did more for Nissan than the ad. Yeah, exactly. But imagine you're on shorts and you're not going to see. Historia Civilis work video is incredible. Atrioc recommend. I could watch that today. I'm definitely deep history pilled today. So if we watch more history stuff than usual, just be ready. If you don't want to learn about history, that's totally fine. But I'm probably going to watch some today. That's what I want to get smarter about. Hey, Atrioc, this isn't a related topic, but I saw your video about the Gen Z political split. I think it comes from men feeling like life is hard and everyone tells them to shut up because they have male privilege. But conservatives tell them that they're right and shift the blame on someone else, or tell them that life was better back in the good old days. I think you are circling some truth there, which is that, like, if people feel bad for whatever reason and they feel unheard, then they're going to go to whoever tells them that they're right. It's a simplified version, but I think you're right. Maisie, hi! Good to see you. Watch Oversimplified World War II. How are you? I'm good. I'm actually good. I had a pretty good day today. I've been running, I feel like if I don't fuck up in 8 months, I'll be in good shape. That's what I tell myself. I'm starting this thing where I have my habits on the other side of this whiteboard, and I'm Xing. I'm putting an X every day if I do it all. And I'm trying to be honest, because have you ever done this? Be honest with me. Be honest, chat. Have you ever done a thing where you are trying to keep to a schedule and then you start cheating a little bit? What I do is with calendars. So you'll be like, I'm going to go to bed at 9 p.m. every day or whatever, for example. And then you make the X. I did it. And then, like, after 5 days, maybe it's you go to bed at 9:30. But you're like, I'm not going to fuck up my streak. So you you put the X in. But the second you do that, you've already fucked the whole system up because it's not real. It's not real. You cheated. And then eventually, you get worse and worse, or you make an excuse like, I'll go to bed even earlier tomorrow so I get the X. And then if you get too many blanks, you stop. And if you keep going, you cheat. So what I'm trying to do is sincerely try. And if I don't do it, I leave it blank. There's a good Reddit post with a list of history videos. That's where I found out about Historia Civilis. Whoever made that Reddit post, it got 3 upvotes, but I saw it today on my phone, and I was like, this is, I was just fine. I'll give him credit. Because I want more good Reddit posts. So I have to give this one right here. Actually got 34. This guy, Stegatops, following up on the historical content. Hell yeah. Hey, y'all. I'm not the only person. I gave him a southern accent. Hey, y'all. I assume I'm not the only person who's been loving the repeated phases of historical obsession on stream. And then he gave some recommendations, and I just watched this, and it was hype. It was super pog. So that's that. Didn't upvote? Fine, I'll upvote it. Fucking shit. Fuck, dude. Nutter butter marketing has been occult and esoteric. What? This is Nutter butter marketing? What am I looking at? This is trash, bro. This is trying too hard. This is some fucking agency, bro. Trying to, like, what do the fucking doomers love? What do these Gen Z doomers love? This is slop. This is trying to go viral. None of it really has. This is my notebook. Something. Something nutty is going to happen soon, but you have to find it yourself. It's It's like a fucking school shooter vibe, dude. What a terrible, terrible marketing. That being said, I do love Nutter Butter, and it did remind me they exist, so maybe I'll get a pack. I do love a good Nutter Butter, be honest with you. They're tasty. Yo, Big A, if you want a presentation, I got one ready to go tonight about something you've expressed interest in before. How vague. How absolutely vague. I have no idea what your presentation is on, and I cannot call you up for this. Atrioc, look at Duolingo. I've looked at Duolingo. I've made a fucking video about Duolingo. Duolingo is doing very well. That is nothing like Duolingo. That's like an attempt, a terrible attempt to try and capture some of Duolingo's randomness. Wait, guys, we're vibing. Don't need to post links yet. We're gonna watch here in like 8 o'clock probably. I'll start watching. Stop linking. I don't even got the video thing open. Let me reach out to Otto and get Otto. Yo, what's the Get Smarter? Do you have the Get Smarter Saturday website you made? Please. And then I need to make the uwu face. Oh, I think he actually put it right here. Never mind, I got it. It was literally the last message in our conversation. All right, we got it. At least I oohed him for nothing. Yeah, first I want to waffle a slight bit before I jump into any of these videos. Please, you guys are just posting videos. I'm not looking at him. TTL now, thank you for the 17 months. Yeah, I wanted to. I don't know if there's anything else that happened today. There was that crazy Russian sex party. Talked about that. There was. I feel like I read the FT today, but it was all Israel-Palestine stuff that I don't want to get into. So I'm trying to think if there's any other fucking. If there's any other stories I read about that I thought were interesting to talk about that wouldn't make a Marketing Monday. Did you see the Apple sideloading stuff? I did. There was a great video by Theo, who's in this chat sometimes, that I watched. Basically, here, I'll give you the very, very TLDR. Europe is forcing Apple to finally allow sideloading so that you can make your own payment system that doesn't require you to go through Apple, which means Spotify could make it and whatever, so they don't have to give 30% of their money to Apple, which is good. However, Apple is furious about this, and in response, like, analyzed the exact specific language of the ruling. And again, there's a part where it's like, in the ruling where it's like Apple can either, I don't know the exact, but there's an or in there. There's an or in there, and they took that or literally. That or basically means as well. Like Apple can't do this or this, but Apple is making the argument that means they have to choose one. They have to choose one. So they chose the less damaging one for themselves. And then they are creating more egregious fines. So you are technically allowed to create a side-loaded version, but there's all of these restrictions on it, and they're putting Unity style pay per download. So basically, long story short, they are trying to make a system so much worse that it threatens Europe to go back to the old system. It's like 50 cents a download. So like, for example, right now, if you have a viral app that makes no money, let's say you have an app that gets 1 million downloads, right now, under the current system, you'd pay $0. Under the new system, you'd pay something like 500 grand a month. Something like fucking $8 million a year. And you have to go bankrupt. And so they're just like making a system that is very, very obviously designed to threaten people and scare Europe and any tech startups in Europe to go back to the old system. So it's pretty shitty by Apple. It's pretty shippy. The hope is that the EU like looks at this, says it's obvious what you're doing is wrong and not in the spirit of the law, and takes them down. But it remains to be seen if that'll happen. Obviously, it is extremely scary for anyone who does tech in Europe because it'll fuck their revenue. Just fuck them completely. Like and like Spotify has openly tweeted, they did a long tweet thread from their CEO, like they would be unable to run as a business in Europe under that system. Like it wouldn't even make financial sense. Yeah, but my friends like Apple and Android is cringe or I get bullied at school. You got to get those blue bubbles, baby. No, I mean, listen, it's not even on the consumer at this point. I just fucking hope that EU antitrust, which has so far been pretty good, and tech regulation just says, fuck you, Apple, you can't do this. Or you can't operate here. And just stands by it. That'd be so sick. It would be so sick. As a 21-year-old, I've never understood caring about a bubble and who sends SMS in 2024. Dude, I got so many people sending me stuff about that after I did the blue bubble, green bubble war. Like, I am the one bullying kids. All I did was make a video about how it happens, okay, especially in America, and that is why Apple has a higher market share. I literally have a fucking Android phone, and they were like, okay, wow, if this guy thinks having a blue bubble is important, like, bro, I don't. I'm telling you what happens. I'm telling you why it works. I'm telling you the marketing of it. Like, wow. Atrioc, I had an Android in high school and I had no friends, but I don't think the two were related. So you have to do a double blind study. You should Billy Madison it, go back to high school and have an iPhone and see if you're super popular. I don't care about the bubble, but I like these. I mean, whether you care about the bubble or not, I'm sure there's plenty of people that don't give a shit about the bubble. But there's people that do, and so I reported on it. And it's very obviously part of Apple's strategy. Like, otherwise they would unlock the bubble color. I got left out of group project chats because I had an Android. It's an amazing way to get out of the work, huh? Imagine you're on a fucking, you got some type A people on your team, you sell your iPhone, you buy an Android, all of a sudden you're coasting. Easy dodge, baby. Bubble's okay, but being able to airdrop all my stuff between devices is nice. Yeah, I'm sure. Listen, as a consumer, there's plenty of people that like the experience, and I don't blame them. Okay, they aren't anti-consumer, really. Apple, they're mostly anti-developer and competitor in like a big conglomerate tax type way. Well, again, so is Google. They just don't have the. They're not as good at it in America. It would be really, really nice if there was just regulation on it. That'd be awesome. Then it would work out. I've used WhatsApp and Instagram message for a long time. Only time I use text to get a code. Yeah, but people use Messenger, the Apple message, iMessage, relatively frequently in America. Is there a morally good corporation? Atrioc Inc., I think, is one of the greats. I've heard a lot of good stuff about them. Enron's a good one. Amazon, obviously one of the greats for how they treat their warehouse workers. Nestle's one of the good ones. FTX, dude, some guy Some guy that worked for dude, how am I saying Bernie? It's fucking Madoff. Because I was working on the iceberg. For Sam Bankman-Fried, for SBF, sorry. Some guy that worked for SBF sent me a DM on Twitter, and he was like, here's my story about working for SBF. And it was like a series of tweets about how SBF yelled at him a lot. But there was like nothing substantive in there. It was like text messages between him and SBF, and he's like, yeah, he yelled at me a lot, and the job wasn't good. But I'm like, all right, man, that's not cool, but that's not the crime he committed. You know what I'm saying? It's like that. If that was the case, he would be an average CEO. The problem was the fraud. I can't watch Marketing Monday anymore because it makes me more depressed about how I will never own a house. Bro, I hear what you're saying and I appreciate it, but do you want me to lie to you? You want me to make a Marketing Monday about how houses tomorrow are going to be fucking free? This week on Marketing Monday, new laws are being passed that will make all houses free, specifically for Zoomers. Yeah, I don't know. I don't tell you. It's not a. It is funny. The more, again, I'm reading a lot about this stuff for the predictions video, and the more I read about the general mood, especially among younger people, millennials and Gen Z, it's like there's the fact that we can't get a house and everything else. Like that is the issue. I legitimately feel if somehow housing were to snap overnight fix and everybody had a good house, or like it was affordable and on a normal salary, like everyone's complaints would dry up. Almost everything is downstream from that. That is the defining issue among young people globally. It just feels so important. People, I think like so much of the doomerism, so much of like the lack of the future stems from the fact that people are looking at a world where they could work a lot of hours and not be able to make that milestone. Because it's usually the milestone of like work, maybe promotion or get started on a career, have enough money, buy a house, have a family. Like it's like that. But if you chop that off, people start feeling like fucking dizzy. They feel like, what are the structure? What am I doing? I know people who bought their house for $20K. It's worth $1 million now. Are you at a fucking old folks home? Who you know bought a house for $20K? It's worth $1 million now. Where 20K? That's like 1920s. What? You gotta be. Are you 70? Maybe 200K, maybe. But again, there's been massive price appreciation over the past 30 years, but 20K is ridiculous. You get a house for 20K in the 50s? Maybe. I'm no expert on the 50s housing prices. I rented back then. Did you see? I did. So I obviously for many reasons I don't like to fucking make a huge. I don't bring this up and get harassed, but I did see the Taylor Swift AI imagery news, and I saw that it got federal attention, which is good. She is the only big enough celebrity to hopefully get action on this. It's actually positive news. I mean, terrible for her. It's awful for her, and it's unfortunate that it happened. It is positive news that the White House is aware and moving forward to it. So hopefully there is like some sort of actual legislation. Because I'm going to be honest with you. Again, I don't want to fucking go into it, but from my experience working with, for example, Genevieve and Caritas and things to try and fight it, it's kind of impossible at scale on an individual level. There's like not enough money in the world. Like for smaller creators, we can help them out and get stuff removed and it's gone. For bigger creators, it's a fucking endless whack-a-mole because the technology, it gets easier every year and there's more people online and the methods we found they're helpful at a small scale. Oh, there's ads? That sucks. Anyway, I don't want. Yeah, that's it. That's all I wanted to say was that, like, as unfortunate as it is, I really, really hope it leads to something legislatively, because it really feels like that's the only way is like broad-based legislation that goes after creators, and I hope that happens. Ridiculous that our government only pays attention when a mega wealthy celebrity is affected. Yes, but if that's the case, then we got to play that game, and that happens. So hopefully it works. Did you see Nancy Pelosi stocks news? I did. I saw Nancy Pelosi. Someone asked her in an interview if, like, she thought it was okay for Congress to trade stocks, and she goes, "Yeah, it's a free market." And it's like, Nancy Pelosi has a $200K salary and made $200 million off stocks. It's fucking ridiculous. It's so criminal. It's so criminal, dude. And she's not the only person doing. I mean, she's like at the top tier of the Congress people doing it, but it's like, it's fucked up. It's just fucked up. It's like, I think there was something, I don't know if it passed the House or whatever to like stop congressional stock trading. I don't know if it actually passed, but I hope it does, because it has such a bad incentive. Do you know what I'm saying? Especially because it's unpunished. It's almost like, I don't know. It just incentivizes amoral people into those positions because they can get filthy rich. Why would Congress ever remove their own ability to trade stocks? Public pressure is the ideal. The idea is that public pressure would cause that. But it's hard to get people motivated and on one issue. Have you heard about the German YouTube channel that's destroying Lego by comparing it to different companies? Heard you recently talked about buying Legos. What do you mean? What do you mean destroying Lego? Lego's crushing. Do you guys know that Lego is a bigger toy company than Mattel and Hasbro? It's the biggest toy company in the world. Lego's setting its sights on Disney. Lego's crushing. And that is post Barbie Mattel. Like Lego's just they have gone from just pure toys to now they're adding video games, they're adding digital experiences. They did Lego Fortnite, they're adding they've had movies and TV shows. Like, they're building a multimedia brand to rival Disney. Lego is unironically on the come up. They're a pretty well-run company that is doing really well. I mean, Bionicle made them. Bionicle saved them. They did have a huge comeback, Bionicle era. Isn't Pharrell making a Lego biopic? I had no idea. I never heard of that. But that's up their alley. They're trying a lot to do. Wow, they are doing that. Pharrell is making a Lego movie inspired by his life. He's making a Lego movie about his life? That's... Why would it be Lego? Piece by Piece, a new film chronicling his life story told entirely through Lego brick animation. The Lego group believes in our crazy mission. All right. They're trying a lot of things. They're trying a lot of multimedia things. This is a crazier one than I thought, but interesting. Imagine if the movie is incredibly sad. It's about his life. It's happy. He's going to play fucking Happy as the credit song. You can see the Congress trades on QuiverQuant. Their house copy trading strategy return has been 40%. Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, if they're making well above the S&P 500, then they are, there's obviously an advantage. They have some kind of hidden knowledge that is, they're not just the fucking world's best stock traders. They're cheating. They're thumb on the scales, bro. They're just lucky. It's coincidence. You can copy what they do and make bank, but they always have the first mover advantage on it, right? And so when they have to report it, there's a delay between them when they do it and report it. So very often, unless it's a long-term play, you could miss out on the appreciation. Are you in the loop on how Games Workshop / Warhammer is one of the top cut off? But yeah, we covered that. Top UK companies. Yeah, it is funny. I mean, it's almost like a bad thing about the UK, though. I was looking at it because it was like number one performing stock over the last 6 months in the UK was like fucking Warhammer figurines. It's like, okay, well, we had fucking Apple, Microsoft, Google, Nvidia. You know, it's like it felt small potatoes, bro. But it is doing well. If you want to learn more of a presentation on it, I'd be interested. They can't trade T stocks anymore. Cut them some slack. Is Nifty still a good investment recently? Again, not financial advice. Never, ever financial advice. You're going to lose money. You're going to lose money. You're going to lose money. You can't blame me. But I am invested in the Nifty 50 in India for the long term, and it has done really well. It's one of the best things it did for me last year. I made let's see. I'll just say percentages. Yeah, it was like 21%. So cool. Which is pretty good. Pretty good. That's it's above S&P. BRB taking a loan out. Yeah, what you should do is what I recommend. If you're going to invest in stocks, do it the smart way. Take a credit card, take out all the money you can on that to buy a Afterpay subscription. Afterpay now has subscriptions. Okay? That gives you access to Afterpay Plus. Once you're on that, buy a subscription to Klarna. Okay? That way you're chaining these through. And then chain that through 5 more credit cards to farm the points, okay? At the end of this chain, you buy as much of a stock as you possibly can. Go all in with debt. Gamble it all. If you can, find a way to get a mortgage on your parents' house. That way they're mentally with you. That's because they're going to lose as well. They have skin in the game. You will have huge interest payments, but that's not a problem because you're going to make so much money on the stock, you can pay it back. Did you see the TikTok where the lady liquidated 4 credit cards to buy an Airbnb property? I did see that. What was extra funny is that she did it to fake business income. So she had 4 credit cards that she used to buy stuff from her fake business so that she could show business income to get a big credit amount for her business, which she then used to buy an Airbnb, which is absolute fraud. And also, if that Airbnb doesn't print money, it's going to leave her in debt and fucking screwed over anyway. Sounds like you're mad you didn't think of this first. Is that what I sound like? Are you detecting that I'm seething? That I'm fucking furious? That I didn't think of this brilliant way to defraud credit card companies who notoriously never care about your fraud? They're never going to be litigious about this. Or the government who never cares. And to get one possibly money-losing Airbnb. Yes, you're right. I'm seething. Shark, will you ever stream on YouTube? I don't think so, but I haven't ever planned on it. Only because I don't like the chat. The YouTube chat don't work for me. And I also, if I've ever did it, would be multi, and then I would ignore the chat on YouTube, and then have a bad time. could be good for YouTube channel? I don't think so. I think if you have a good YouTube channel, it'll help your YouTube stream, but I don't think it's the other way around. Again, my goal in 24 is to try and grow the YouTube. That's all. I am super fine with where we're at on Twitch. I actually like having around, let's say 3K, because then I can do the chat riffs. I can farm chat for content. I get to have a back and forth, which I need to have like fun banter. And so all I have to do is make sure this is good enough to make good videos. That's my goal. And all my editors have been out or sick or working. But now, February, we're starting it up. So that's my goal. Honestly, I unsub from people who stream a ton on YouTube because it fills up my feed too much. Well, there you go. It hasn't happened to me, but streaming to 10K easier than streaming to 1K. What do you mean by easier? Streaming to 1,000 people is much easier than streaming to 10 because it's hard to riff. But I think once you get over, and I'll give a random number here, let's say at 1,500, maybe 2,000. Once you get over that, you're good. As long as you've built somewhat of a community that you don't hate. Once you get around that, you certainly have enough people to have jokes and riff off of. And not that it rarely happens to me, but once you get past, let's say, 7K, 7.5, 8K, I mean, I've never had it. I think I've had 10K. I never had 10K. Once you get there, or you see it, it becomes more difficult unless you really, really commit to it to pull chat messages out and like have a thing. So for me, it's not that everyone wants to see the number go up, and obviously you want to make more money. That's fucking cool. But in general, for me, I think I don't want to lose because I like farming chat. All the clips videos are just me ripping off chat. So Hassan does 24/7. Yes, you're absolutely right. He does. But the thing about what I've noticed from Hassan's is that with a chat that big, especially, I mean, he's divisive for, he got a lot of haters. So he has to crack down all the time. It's always so adversarial. It's so, you know what I'm saying? It's just, you have to yell and scream and fight. NL can do it with 10K. I think NL is amazing and has probably one of the greatest communities on all of Twitch. I agree with that. But I don't think NL's banter is too chat-based. I watch a good amount of NL. NL just has it all come from his fucking brain. NL is like telling his stories and the chat responds and they have fun spams. But it's not a lot of back and forth. So that's what I'm saying. So for where I'm at, that's like I am trying to do this for video. I like where we're at for videos. By the way, I should probably mention this. I don't think it's a big deal, but I watched that Destiny Ben Shapiro debate, and my response to it was, I thought the debate was pretty shitty. I didn't like it. Like I said, it was pretty unsatisfying, but I was surprised because I thought Destiny was all right. And apparently that fucking blew up as like, Atrioc is Mr. Destiny now. Like, did anyone watch the clip? It was like, yeah, I didn't like the debate, but I thought it was a pretty non-issue clip. And it was like it was like a shock. It was a shocking amount of response for what I thought was like a pretty baseline. I didn't know, bro. I fucking said I didn't know. If you would have asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have thought Destiny and Ben Shapiro were like best friends. And then I watched the debate, and then I found out they kind of are. But not politically. So I don't know. That's what I found out. So yeah, I figured I have no idea any other history about it. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of LSF, man. I gotta be honest with you. I feel like that was really blown out of proportion. I got weird DMs and I was like, what would I do? Anyway, that's not our subject here, bro. Okay, we're talking about history today, actually. History. I Atrioc, have you heard the new Connor Price song? Connor Price song. I have heard some Connor Price stuff. I don't think anything super new. I heard the new Ben Shapiro song though. Shit was gas, dude. What a heater about a bars from Ben Shapiro, dude. Just incredible. I mean, I feel like that was so fire. You could tell they're playing that in the club. Have you heard the new Mozart song? You call me old? Oh, so okay, all right. So we're at 18. So what we're doing right now is a segment, a long-running segment here on stream called Get Smarter Saturdays, designed to raise the fucking IQ of this chat to astronomical levels. Get Smarter Saturdays. The rules of Get Smarter Saturdays are well known by everyone here, but I'll remind you of them for the sake of consistency. Rule number 1, the video cannot be too long. Rule number 2, the video cannot be too boring. But here's the rule number 3, the rub that changes everything. By the end of the video, we have to have learned something. Chat needs to learn something. That means it has to be YouTube videos that actually teach us a thing or two. Today, I think I have a bit of a history kick. But let's find out what is on the docket. Clear all videos. Submit. How a nuclear war will start minute by minute. I think Kurzgesagt this is a coffee cow bonus. Otto, did you add a coffee cow bonus if it's pasted multiple times? I think he is not about Reacts, so we will not watch this one. This is how he's mooing. It moves. Why did Argentina decline? This is interesting, especially given Javier Milei taking over Argentina and what's going on there. I'd be interested. It's only 3 minutes. Let's watch it. What happened?
In 1895, the average Argentinian was roughly as rich as the average American. In 1995, the average American was 3.5 times richer than the average Argentinian.
We watched this. We watched this already. I've seen this. I remember the whole thing. we 100% watched this whole video on stream. I absolutely have already watched this. We've already watched this. We've already watched Ohio's balloon disaster. 2.4 million views. Ohio's 1986 balloon disaster. This seems interesting and relatively low commitment, but not learning enough. Let's watch something else before we treat ourselves to that. The dumbest Russian voyage nobody talks about. The science of why you're so awkward. We gotta find out, bro. I just ooh-wooed fucking Otto for this website 2 minutes ago. Let's find out why you guys are so awkward, scientifically.
You just clicked on this video. That means you're either curious or painfully uncomfortable to be around. If you happen to be the latter, do not fret. Science can alleviate your troubles, including, but not limited to, awkward silence, awkward commentary, and awkward positions.
Awkward.
3 completely different things that can all make you want to live in a cave and never see a human face again. In fact, a study done by the University of Michigan shows that physical pain and intense feelings of awkward hurt in the same way, meaning stubbing your toe and accidentally liking an Instagram photo from 2013 activate the same part of the brain.
Sure,
but that's
that
just
makes
an
sense.
awkward situation. Like say you go in for a handshake with your bro, and you and bro both use different methods. After an encounter like this, most people are going to openly display embarrassment. This is actually a good thing. It shows that you understand smooth social exchanges and that your failed handshake was not one of them. In fact, the worst thing you can do is be awkward without displaying that you feel awkward. Research has shown that if you have little to no reaction to an uncomfortable or awkward situation, you're seen as less trustworthy. But some people are just awkward as a person, as a whole. They're just a big ball of awkward. And there are 3 big traits that might make an awkward person.
That is like what Nathan Fielder does to make people uncomfortable. It is Nathan Fielder style, yep.
Awkward. Awkward trait number 1, hands. What to do with your 10 little sausages? Well, it can vary from culture to culture.
Is that why you sent this video? Is that why you sent this fucking video? Really? Because it has... Is this even relevant? Is this even a good video we're going to learn something from? Or did you just... It has a fucking sausage fingers in it. I feel like you 100% already knew that was in there and knew this would happen. And I feel like you broke the good faith agreement that we would learn something so that you could get chat to spam glizzy hands because you knew there was 10 sausage fingers in there.
But according to most experts,
All right.
a good rule of thumb is if you're more open, you seem more comfortable. And if you're more closed, you seem uncomfortable. And if you're uncomfortable, the people around you feel uncomfortable, making you awkward to be around. So keep your body open. The best way to do this while speaking is to keep your palms up and move them accordingly to important points in conversation. But you're not going to be waving your hands around with your palms up when the other person is talking. That'd be weird and a little scary.
Oh, sure.
What then? Again, good rule of thumb. Keep your body open. That means avoid putting your hands in your pockets or folding your arms. Now, it might seem like I've just eliminated every natural thing you could possibly do with your hands, but I didn't. For example, when you're sitting, you got the...
What about the, like the TED Talker? This is my favorite. The corporate presentation. You got your hands in a power stance in front of you like this, and you make... then you spread them apart to do broad gestures to emphasize your point and then go right back to it. The triangle of power. And that is why corporate profits are rising this year. Let's talk about next quarter.
The hands behind the head, the chin-hand combo, or your classic armrest position. For standing, the hands behind the back is always reliable. On the hips, works in most situations. And just leaving them at your side while the other person is talking isn't necessarily bad. Awkward trait number 2, eye contact. What you'll hear from a lot of social skill coaches is 80% eye contact, 20% eye wandering. And that's decent advice, but it's not going to apply to every situation. For example,
that is exactly what you should do, but the important thing to do is count time, often out loud. So you do eye contact. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 1, 2. So that way they know that you're keeping time, okay? Don't listen to what they're saying at all. Just keep at least an internal monologue of the time, and then constantly, after 8 seconds, look away for 2 seconds exactly.
Example, a study at the University of Freiburg had participants do something socially inappropriate or awkward by reading off 50 instances of flaming on the internet directed at the experimenter. For half of the participants, the experimenter would hold direct eye contact, and the participants were asked to do the same. For the other half, the experimenter would look at their notes without ever looking up. By looking at heart rate, participant hesitation, and just asking, the experimenters concluded that the
That's insane. If they were truly from the internet, you had to look a researcher in the eye and say a slur or something. You had to like fucking that sounds very, very difficult.
Breaking eye contact significantly increased embarrassment and worsened mood. There are appropriate times and inappropriate times for eye contact. If someone's done something awkward, forcing eye contact is going to make the situation 10 times more awkward. But if you're just in casual conversation and you don't make eye contact, you'll be seen as bored or worse, nervous. Awkward trait number 3, personal bubbles. In this society, a violation of the personal bubble is of the utmost punishable offenses. 12 to 18 inches at least, and unless you're side by side. Because for some reason, pretty much everyone's bubble is more of an oval shape and extends in front more than it extends to the side. But if I can tell you what you ate for breakfast, there's a serious problem. In fact, by hooking people up with some wires and looking at the electrical characteristics of their skin, we can observe the closer someone you don't know very well stands, the more objectively uncomfortable your nervous system gets. In other words, the bubble needs to be respected. So we have hands, eyes, and space. But these 3 things are really just the most common examples of breaking social expectations. So is there any consistent way to score awkwardness? According to this guy, who has a PhD in awkward and has wrote a book on it, there kind of is. He claims that awkward can be measured using the Autism Spectrum Inventory. That might sound strange, but hear me out. 26 points is required for a diagnosis. And while you might expect your average Joe to score 0, the average score is actually around 16. interaction. And Dr. Toshiro
Okay.
claims that anything in between these two numbers is what we perceive as awkward. He claims this because awkwardness is really just social inconsistency. I like that theory, and while it may very well be accurate, some people just get really nervous in social situations.
Sure.
And that nervousness can cause awkwardness. Now we're talking about social anxiety. And according to the National Library of Medicine, the most effective treatment for social anxiety is exposure. That's right, you big ball of awkward. The best way.
We talked about this yesterday. I truly believe this. I believe it's getting reps in, dude. Reps. I feel like we have this snowball where you don't get practice and then you get worse and then you get more nervous about it, which makes you more awkward, which makes you get less practice in, which makes you get worse. It's a reverse snowball. No, I'll melt alive. There's gotta be reps, dude. I don't want to go outside. I want to stay in and watch Atrioc on twitch.tv. Well, that obviously works as well, okay? Thanks, camaraderie. Obviously, that works as well.
Way to become less scared of social interaction and subsequently less awkward.
You can tell your parents or your therapist that you are making serious efforts. If you watch not just the stream, but the full VOD, really, and the video afterwards, full watch time, please.
Awkward is by willingly going out and being scared and awkward. A tip I would have for you, my socially anxious friend, is to focus less on yourself, what you're going to say, or anything about you, and try and fully direct your attention onto the other person and be genuinely as interested as possible in what they have to say. When you have a question, ask. When you want them to expand on something, ask. Want to know more about their dog named Julius? Ask. Eventually, through trial and error, things will start to come naturally, and you will emerge from your awkward cocoon into a social butterfly. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Your total for the exit fee is going to come out to 1 subscribe, and I'm American, so I'm going to flip this tablet around, and you're going to tip me. And if you don't, it's going to be really awkward.
It is going to be awkward. Fantastic little video there. I think it rings true to me. We learned something. Perhaps helpful. Zoomers got old is an interesting video. I do think it is funny how early in the life cycle of Zoomers they've already started to, back in my day, Gen Alpha. But we did talk about this already, so it's maybe just confirming my own jokes. Let's see. How vodka ruined Russia. I think we've seen this. It's really funny. The Ghost, Fall Guy's darkest secret. Yes. DuckTales. Na 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 na. DuckTales. Ooh. How to reverse a river. The SpongeBob chum theory. What? A different fucking Balloon Fest video? Why is the glizzy messing up? Otto, the Gen Z job seekers taking their parents to interviews are facing hiring challenges. So this is probably Fox News bait to be like, look at these crazy Gen Zers. But like, I assume some small examples did do it, and that's crazy. Like you shouldn't do that. Don't bring your parents to an interview. How to get abs in 60 days using science. I do want to get abs in 60 days, but I don't trust science. I only trust steroids. Let's see. Does it? I'm gonna. Which M&M girl is the hottest? This has a 7x coffee cow bonus and 1.4 million views. Insane. How to quickly ruin the rest of your life? I don't think chat needs to learn this, but
here's another quick tutorial on how to quickly ruin your life. Step 1, eliminate your goals.
Nice.
Don't orient yourself towards a North Star. Don't develop a vision for what your life could be like. Doing this will make it impossible to progress in life, because without a goal, how do you know you're progressing? Eliminate any desire to get yourself out of a suboptimal situation. Subscribe to the idea that this is just the way life.
Subscribe is what he said. Subscribe. If you're listening, you should subscribe. And that way you'll get past these ads that are running right now. That will...
Life is. This is all I can be. It's not hopelessness. It's self-acceptance. Use loving yourself as an excuse to...
Oh shit, beef jerky rules. Beef jerky rules. Thank you for the 10 gifted. I appreciate that and your previous support. However, as much as I love beef jerky, I will not be eating 2 3-pound bags of it again, as I was seriously ill. I was seriously ill. You ate 6 pounds of jerky? That's correct. That was all I ate, was jerky. 6 pounds of it. And I felt terrible.
To spin your wheels and mentally deteriorate. Confuse self-love with self-neglect. Wander aimlessly through life, not really knowing why you're here. Step 2. Stay inside. Don't expose yourself to the light. Don't be a person in the world. Stay hidden. Operate in the shadows. Never subject yourself to the judgment.
You know, it's funny is you could take all of this dialogue, change the title to How to Be a Sigma, and add different music, like add this. And then we could all think it's cool. We could all think this is cool as hell.
Of others. Close yourself off from new information and new perspectives. Let algorithms create deep grooves of repeated behavior and topics, catering only to your already limited interests, until you're viewing the same things and thinking the same thoughts for the rest of your life. Allow your mind to shrink, and with it, your world.
That sounds awesome.
Avoid risk. If something's risky, don't do it. You don't want to end up like that one guy who did that thing and lost everything. What was his name?
Yeah.
Assume that by avoiding risk, you get to avoid pain. Believe that the people who made it big in life made obvious, beneficial decisions with little perceivable downsides. And just wait for that crystal clear opportunity to come around for you. Never ask for a raise, tell a risky joke, or stand up for what you think is right. Never apply for a job unless you know for sure you're going to get it. Never ask somebody out unless you know for certain that they're interested. Don't put your hand up because your question might be stupid.
Yeah.
Always wait for the obvious
Chatters can learn
play,
from that.
because it'll present itself eventually, right? Step 4, overthink. Let every decision you make, no matter how minute, require a deep, brooding think. Assume that your own logic is foolproof. Get lost in the cobwebs of your own mind, divorced from external scrutiny.
Yes.
Develop your own personal theories about everything, and never bounce these ideas off other people. Bounce them off yourself. Step 5, consume.
Why wouldn't you do that? Okay, obviously you're the smartest. I'm talking to you specifically. And you're going to know whether or not it's good.
Always consume more than you produce. Keep your brain entertained at all times. Not by
Okay, one thing I'll say, obviously they're making a point. They're doing the classic, the win is a fail, the fail is a win. Flip it around. I don't think that part's crazy. I think it would be normal. I think Quentin Tarantino consumes more movies than he produces. You know what I'm saying? I think anything you're interested in, you're going to consume 50 times more than you make. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. I think generalized consumption, where you have big screen, medium screen, little screen, and you are just constantly stopping your mind from being bored at any time, that's bad. But I don't think constant production is even right, let alone good.
By your own creative endeavors, obviously, but by other people making.
Yeah, exactly. I think being a writer who has written more books than he's read is actually a terrible writer. I think you gotta fucking
fill your mind not with great works of art or education, but with content. Willingly subject yourself to the influence of those who encourage further consumption. Constantly stay up to date with reviews, rumors, comparisons. Motivate yourself not by fostering virtue,
like me,
but by accumulating
That's what he's telling
objects. Pay your dues regularly to remain in this cycle. And if consumption becomes compulsive, even better. Now you don't have to think about it.
Bro, I could
Step
use some
6,
nuggies right now.
Avoid criticism. Don't surround yourself with people who keep you in check. Challenge your viewpoints. Offer differing perspectives. Spend time only with those who think how you think. Act how you act. Constantly judge those who live differently. Be quick to shut down any discussion of matters you're convicted on, especially ones
I feel like by the end of this video, people are going to be like at the beginning, it's like motivating. And by the end, it's like, this is too much effort. So I'm going to follow these instructions. You know what I'm saying? It's like the beginning is like, oh, you know what? I should.
Let your ego blind you from any real growth. Go through life believing that you, amazingly, have the correct viewpoint on things.
Look at this Chad.
Politics, religion, relationships. Never learn what it feels like to have your belief system challenged.
He's drinking a beer. He's having a good time.
That's uncomfortable. Step 7. Be secretive. Never expose your darker side to anyone for any reason. Don't let anybody know about the bad things you've done or the things you struggle with. Let your addictions
it's more on the
blossom in
struggle
secret,
side, I think.
where they
Not
continue
if you
to
murdered
gain
somebody.
power. Develop a tendency to hold your thoughts, actions, and emotions close to your chest. Be proactive in maintaining a facade of perfection. Never let anyone suspect that you could have flaws or struggle.
Hey, who is this person? Because this is not a real person. There's plenty of people who are like, anxious and afraid and a little lonely, and they could use a chance to get out a little more. I don't know about the person who's also putting up a facade of perfect. This is more of an American Psycho type. Yeah, Agent 47 type than...
Or any kind of normal human weakness. Just focus on the act. The show must go on. Let what you do in the shadows stay there, rotting you from the inside. Step 8. Avoid conflict. If something bothers you, don't mention
You
it.
already did this one. The last part is fucking 5 minutes on Be Pessimistic. I get it, bro. I get it. Understood. I think that guy wanted us to start hot ones. I think the takeaway was that you should probably fucking give people hot wings as a show. And then you'll be happy. I'm like, not everybody can do that. Let's see. Oh, you guys can't see. What else can we learn from? Historical facts that mess with your sense of time from casual history. This could be interesting.
When we try to put historical events into perspective, we often simplistically divide things into old days and modern times because our brains can often struggle with the perception of time. I compiled a series of...
This is a Salmonella ripoff, but he also uploads once in a blue moon, so the market has filled the gap.
Interesting facts on historical events that surprisingly took place at more or less the same time, turning them into real and pretty fascinating coincidences, and will make you think twice about how you perceive the past. Number 1. The same tortoise belonged to both Charles Darwin and Steve Irwin.
That's
Harriet
insane.
the tortoise was reportedly collected by Charles Darwin during his 1835 visit to the Galapagos Islands as part of his round-the-world survey expedition. Then she was transported to England and finally
beer
brought to
drawing
her
is
final home,
beautiful.
Australia, by a retiring captain of the Beagle, the ship Darwin used for his expedition. And as we all know, tortoises can live quite a long time. And by a hilarious turn of events, Harriet turned up in Steve Irwin's zoo. That's right, the pet tortoise of Charles Darwin was adopted
R.I.P.
by the legendary crocodile hunter. However, some doubt was cast on this story by the fact that Darwin had never visited the island that Harriet originally came from. Anyhow, she had an estimated age of 175 by the time she finally died at Steve Irwin's zoo. Her life was an absolute win since Harriet got to meet 2 historical legends.
Died so
Number
young.
2, Today's oldest living tree was already 1,000 years old when the last woolly mammoth died. The world's oldest tree is a Great Basin bristlecone pine located in White Mountains, California, and is dated at around 5,000 years old.
Okay.
To put that into perspective, isolated populations of woolly mammoths on Wrangel Island didn't finally go extinct.
I didn't know they had human faces.
4,000 years ago, with the small island in the Arctic Ocean serving as a sanctuary for the great beasts after they were forced from the mainland by humans.
I did see it. Yeah, I did see a cool mammoth exhibit at there's a tar pits, La Brea Tar Pits Museum in LA. I went with Ari, and they talked about how herds of mammoths would cross these ice floes onto islands. Then the ice melted and they were stuck on the island. And so there wasn't enough food on the island to stay big. So over the next whatever amount of time, they became really small pygmy mammoths that are more like elephants, which was interesting. I was there.
Climate change. So you don't have to go back to the Ice Age to meet some mammoth friends. Number 3. Woolly mammoths and the Egyptians. I think this fact is more popular nowadays, but I still want to include it since it's a true classic. As I established earlier, woolly mammoths went extinct about 4,000 years ago when human societies were already around. The oldest of the Great Pyramids in Egypt, the Pyramid of Djoser, was constructed about 1,000 years before they went extinct, meaning that while man was busy building some of the most incredible structures ever made, woolly mammoths were still chilling on some islands.
I did not know
Number
that.
4, Mahatma Gandhi and Jack the Ripper. Gandhi is so bound up with the titanic events of the 20th century that it might be peculiar to imagine him as a dapper gentleman of Victorian society. But that's exactly what he became while studying law.
Oh, I thought he was going to say Mahatma Gandhi was Jack the Ripper.
In London.
I was like,
I
seriously doubt that.
Right in the midst of the Jack the Ripper killings.
No, you can know. No, not could be, not twist, not you could never know. I think we can confidently say that Gandhi did not murder people secretly, murder prostitutes in London.
The Ripper killings. But it's funny to think about the fact that Gandhi could have become a suspect in the most famous murder case. Number 5, Nintendo and Jack the Ripper. Even though Jack the Ripper and Nintendo were around about the same time, he never got the chance to play classic.
Now this I could believe. I do believe John Nintendo, CEO of Nintendo to this day, probably was Jack the Ripper. I do think he probably killed people, and it's probably because they were drawing fan art of Mario or something.
Like Zelda and Mario. They originally made playing cards called Hanafuda when the company was founded way back in 1889. At the same time, the infamous Jack the Ripper was creating havoc on the streets of London. His murder spree happened only about a year before Nintendo came into existence. Number 6, Star Wars came out the same year as the last guillotine execution in France. When thinking about guillotine execution,
that just reflects poorly on France. That's not like a crazy historical fact about how old Star Wars is, because Star Wars came out in the 70s, bro. That's just, it is guillotine, though. He said guillotines.
Our minds wander to historic figures like Napoleon, but you didn't have to be that old to get your head chopped off. Star Wars premiered in the United States on May 20th, 1977. At the same time this futuristic sci-fi was wowing audiences around the world, Hamida, the pimp killer, Jandubi, was beheaded for the torture and murder of a young woman. This was the last use of the...
Oh, I thought he killed pimps. He was a pimp who was also a killer. Don't call him the pimp killer. Because that could also be like early 2000 slang where he's like a pimp. Like pimp as a positive killer. Yeah, he's the killer pimp.
The guillotine in France. Nobody else has been executed using any means since. Considering the timeline, even your own grandpa could have attended this last execution. And maybe he talked with some strangers about the new cool Star Wars movie while watching the execution. Number 7. Prisoners arrived at Auschwitz just days after McDonald's was founded. While McDonald's is traditionally associated with the good times and affluence of 1950s America, the very first restaurant was opened much earlier, on May 15, 1940. At the same time, one of the most gruesome events in human history began in Europe. Just 5 days after McDonald's grand opening, the first prisoners arrived at the Auschwitz concentration camp in what is now
seem that
Poland.
crazy to me,
Number
though.
8.
That seems
Oxford
very reasonable.
University existed for hundreds of years before the Aztec Empire was founded. The Aztec Empire began as an alliance of 3 city-states. These 3 city-states ruled the area in and around the Valley of Mexico from 1428. This came to an end when the combined forces of the Spanish conquistadors and their native allies under Hernan Cortez defeated them in 1521.
I learned that from Age of Empires. I learned that is that everyone thinks Cortez conquered the Aztecs, but like the majority of the fighting was done by other indigenous people who hated the Aztecs. That and fucking disease. Like Cortez kind of riled them up, and then they all killed the Aztecs.
Aztec culture had rich and complex mythological and religious traditions, as well as achieving remarkable architectural and artistic accomplishments. Meanwhile, in England, Oxford University was already well established. It has no known date of foundation, but there is evidence of teaching as far back as 1096, making it the oldest university in the English-speaking world and the world's second oldest university in continuous operation.
I did study there.
It grew rapidly from 1167,
But I got
when
so
Henry
wasted
II
every day.
banned English students from attending the University of Paris. So part of why Oxford is so famous today is because Henry pulled a clever marketing move. Number 9. Ecstasy was invented the same year the Titanic sank. The unsinkable Titanic sank in 1912, going down in the North Atlantic Ocean 4 days into the ship's maiden voyage from Southampton.
Is it possible that the captain of the Titanic was rolling on E? Is it possible they were having a crazy party and that's why?
To New York City. In the same year, pharmaceutical giant Merck was
It's
interested
well
in
established.
developing substances that stop abnormal bleeding. One of their chemists, Anton Kolisch, synthesized MDMA to avoid a patent by German rival Bayer. It wasn't until 1975 that psychoactive effects of the drug began to be taken seriously, and recreational use spread thereafter through personal networks of psychotherapists, psychiatrists, users of psychedelics, and yuppies. So yes, everyone who died on the Titanic never got the chance to taste this drug. By the
Truly
way,
sad.
ecstasy raised one's body temperature, so if it had been invented earlier,
stupid.
it might explain why the captain was so desperate to ram an iceberg. Number 10. Microsoft was founded while Spain was still a fascist dictatorship. A highly controversial figure within Spain, Franco is seen as a divisive leader. Supporters credit his strong anti-communist and nationalist views, economic policies, preservation of traditional Spanish practices,
Paella!
and support of the monarchy of Spain as positive influences over the nation. Critics disparage him as an autocratic dictator who violently suppressed opposition and dissent, banned culture seen as non-Spanish, and provided much support to the Axis powers
Well,
during
that's
World
tough.
War II. Franco ruled Spain as a fascist state up until his death
That
in 1975.
is one of those
This
photos
was
you
the
don't
same
wanna
year
have.
that Microsoft was founded by Paul Allen and Bill Gates, and the beginning of a new era in computer technology. Number 11. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows was published the same year the first iPhone was released.
That's a dumb. That doesn't make me think history. It doesn't fuck with my sense of time. That's so normal. I feel like this guy picked random years in Wikipedia and then picked 2 things on them. That's fully slop, bro. How's that? Is that crazy to Zoomers? How is that crazy to? I guess they think that iPhone is farther back.
The 7th and last book in the Harry Potter series was released in 2007, ending the series that began in 1997 with the publication of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. That same year, something came along that has probably done more to kill children's interest in reading more than anything else: the first iPhone model. Considering that the first iPhone seems like a vintage phone now, it's impressive how fast time goes by. But that is it for today.
Yeah, man, I don't get the Harry Potter comparison. I do think it is crazy to think how smartphones have so quickly become an unremovable part of our lives. Not even, I mean, now we're already past the point, but like, you think you go back to like 20, even like 13, 14, 15, they'd only been out for, 7 years. And it was like, you can't even imagine the world without them. It was so quick. That was, it's crazy how that went from not existing, nobody having one, to the world having one and everything being built around them so quick. Smartphones are like, even the internet, which is like in my lifetime, was relatively slow compared to smartphones. No, I don't think that video was AI generated. It was fine. It wasn't, the facts weren't that interesting. Not all of them. Some of them were okay. Let's see what else we got. What else we got? Coffee Cow bonuses. I need to blow my nose, dude. I gotta blow my nose. VP Joe Biden, we own the finish line. That doesn't seem like I'm gonna learn something. We watched this. Best croissant in Paris was very funny. Netflix password sharing bubble. This breakfast looks very tasty, but we've already watched that. The art of listening. This could be interesting. The art of listening. It's pretty short. You could learn how to... Wait, filmed my boss firing me?
What do you want to say?
Close the door.
Close the door?
Close the door. Okay, there's no easy way to do this. You need to get your things and head out. Bye. Sorry.
My things?
Yeah.
I just came here with my backpack today. I don't even have an office.
Well, just check around if you brought any.
Is this fake? This guy's... who would start with that? That doesn't seem like a real firing.
Like papers or pieces of paper or stuff.
I don't just carry loose leaf papers around with
I don't
me.
know, something that you wrote down, some notes that you clearly didn't take that would have helped you with this job, but you should probably just get your things as quickly as possible. And,
Also, how does he not notice the phone pointed right at him that's recording? This is fake as fuck, bro. That is big fake. He also smiled. We could watch that big Nortel video. That could be fun. I mean, that video looked pretty good. It's just so big. That's the problem. We could watch Dean Pelton's rap, which is truly hilarious. How to steal a central bank. Yogurt male affirmations. Yugoslav wars in 3 minutes? It's 5 minutes. They lied in the title. What is it? Every birth generation explained in 9 minutes. Can't imagine that has any nuance. We could watch that Nortel video. All right. We'll watch the Nortel video just because I've always wanted to watch it. It seems interesting. The company that broke Canada. It's not. There's no part 2, right? This is just the video.
This is.
No, I'm not watching both then. No. No. Bro, it's a 3-hour combined video. It's fucking Napoleon. It's fucking Oppenheimer. No, we're not going to watch that. No, we're not going to watch that. Why? There's no way that story needs 3 hours to be told, bro. As good as the video, I'm sure is. Wait, I'm going to change the max length. I'm changing the max length to 20. Clear videos. Clear videos. Let's get something good. I want some history. Why boredom is good for you? Interesting. Pope fights? Interesting. History of Japan. 80 million views on this. History of Japan. Is this video good? 80 million. All right, fuck it.
Japan is an island by the sea filled with volcanoes, and it's beautiful. In the year -1 billion, Japan might not have been here. In the year -40,000, it was here, and you could walk to it, and some people walked to it. Then it got warmer, some icebergs melted, it became an island, and now there's lots of trees because it's warmer. So now there's people on the island. They're basically sort of hanging out in between the mountains, eating nuts off trees, and using the latest technology, like stones and bowls. Ding dong, it's the outside world, and they have technology from the future, like really good metal and crazy rice farms. Now you can make a lot of rice really, really quickly. That means if you own the farm, you own a lot of food, which is something everybody needs to survive.
Sure.
So that makes you king. Rice farming and rice kingdoms spread across the land, all the way to here. The most important kingdoms were here, 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 and here. But this one was the most important, ruled by a heavenly superperson, or emperor for short. Knock knock, get the door, it's religion. The new prince wants everyone to try this hot new religion from Biekt. Please try this religion, he said. No, said everybody. Try it, he said. No, said everybody again, quieter this time. And so the religion was put into place, and all the rules that came with it.
Probably some
then the
violence in
government
there.
was taken over by another clique, and they made some reforms, like making the government govern more, and making the government more like China's government, which is a government that governs more. Hi, China, they said. Hi, dipshit, said China. Can you call us something else other than dipshit, said Japan. Like what, said China. How about Sunrise Land, said Japan. And they stole China's alphabet and wrote a book about themselves. And then they made lots of poetry and art and another book about themselves. Then they stopped moving.
Hey, Bob.
Oh, hey.
Good to see you. We're watching a video on the history of
This
Japan.
video's so old.
Babe, apparently everybody knows it, but I don't know.
Yeah, everybody knows it.
Oh, yeah. What is like one thing you learned from it?
I didn't watch it. I'm not gonna watch a video like that.
Well, then everybody doesn't know it, do they? Okay,
Yeah,
you know
they
of
do.
it.
I know of it. That's
But
what
you
I'm
have to
saying.
watch it though. What if it's
No,
interesting? I have to get
wrong,
yes.
Is the Kojiki the one that was written by a woman? Look that up. It's very cool.
The Kojiki.
Yeah, look it up. Look it up.
What?
Then they made lots.
This book.
I don't know. It's like there's this giant ass book written by a woman. It's so fucking awesome.
You think there's only one book ever written by a woman?
I'm talking about like centuries ago in Japan.
I think you're thinking of Harry Potter 4.
Wait, who wrote the Kojiki? Is it the Kojiki? Yeah. Oh wait, who wrote it? Tell me.
I don't think they know. They probably didn't get credit back then.
No. Look up. Did someone in chat say it? They know. This woman wrote it.
Like interrogating them.
Fucking weird. Japan, who wrote book woman? Wait, what? This one.
You Googled
Wait.
Japan who wrote book woman.
Wait, long time ago.
And you got a Japanese modern author.
Oh, that's it. Oh, okay. The Heike. Sorry.
Murasaki Shikibu.
That's it. She wrote.
Lady Murasaki
it's
wrote
so awesome.
The Tale of
like
Genji.
This woman, and she wrote this giant ass book. It's so awesome. Yeah, sorry, I fucked up. I fucked up real hard. Now you guys know, like this is incredible.
All
Like,
right.
look, this is like thousands of years ago.
Now you can see what she's talking about.
Yeah.
This woman wrote one of the
Tale of
world's
Genji.
first novels.
Like that's amazing. Do you get that or no?
It was a little too talky for me. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Too much about the feelings.
Like know your place.
I was reading men's
Like,
books
look,
back then.
like,
You know, a
read
little
it.
bit
It's
more
so
about
cool. Like a tradition
action.
from learning Chinese. You know.
Yeah, that's
It's fucking
very
epic.
cool. She's very obviously influential.
Okay, bye. I have a guest, so.
Okay. Oh, is Ling here? Oh, cool. Wait, I want to say hi. I have to blow my nose anyway.
Oh.
Do you want to talk to chat?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'll babysit.
Okay. Babysit chat real quick. I'll say hi to Ling.
Okay. Do I have to put on the headphones?
No, not really. You just talk to him.
Okay. Yeah, that was embarrassing. Sorry that I did not remember. One of the greatest authors in history. Okay, the chat's going way too fast for me to read stuff. Can you like slow down? Okay, I caught one message that says, "We forgive you. Thank you very much." Name your favorite woman. Oh, my mom. Okay. Wait, I don't know how it's supposed to slow it down. Ads. Wait, when you guys say ads, are you like telling me to run an ad or that there's an ad going on right now? And my question to you guys is, do ads run at the same time for every viewer? I don't know how to run an ad, if that's what you're saying. Okay. Wait, they do run at the same time for everyone. Okay. Okay, so if an ad's running right now, how can you like type? You know? Like, I don't... Okay, I'm starting to realize that if you're subbed, you don't get ads, because I'm not subbed and I get ads all the time, and that's why I don't watch the stream. Okay, like, what the hell, you know? Who to ask your favorite character in Baldur's Gate? I've only played like 1 hour, so... The green lady? I don't know. Okay. Fake fan. There's a little... Wait, I'm trying to read stuff. Wait. Hold on. I know there's like a... Okay, if... I don't want to pull anything up because I'm afraid I'm going to put something on the screen. Okay. All right. Okay. That was very difficult. Okay. I don't know.
Let the master at work, okay? Here's how you interact with chat, okay? Here's how it's done. Shut up, chat. We're watching the video. Don't say a fucking word. Here's how you fucking turn her off. How did that go? How did that go? How did my wife clutch up on that? She said she's not subbed. What do you mean? Not subbed to me? Yeah, I mean, if she was subbed to me, that would be our net income paying to give Jeff Bezos $2.50. That would be so stupid. In fact, her not being subbed means we get money on ads. Ari just discovered that streaming is the hardest job in the world. Finally, she understands. Finally, she understands that her husband works incredibly hard on these streams. Okay, this is like fucking the Marines, if not harder. It's like fucking the Marines. All of them. That's a difficult job. She just says you watch because she has too many ads. Is that? She's a VOD frog. Sometimes I hear her watching my clips and giggling, and then I feel good. Very occasionally, I'll hear her watching a big A clip, and then she'll giggle, and then I'm like clutched. Adish saving your marriage. Yeah. Thanks, Adish. Gotta give him a raise, bro. Anyway, let's watch the rest of this fucking video on the history of Japan.
And then they made lots of poetry and art and another book about themselves. Then they stopped moving the capital every time the emperor died and kept it in one place for a while, right here. And they conquered the north finally. Get that squared away. A rich hipster named Kukai is bored with modern Buddhism, visits China, and learns a better version, which is more spiritual. Comes back, reinvents the alphabet, and causes art and literature to be great for a long time. And the royal palace turned into such a dream world of art that they really didn't give a shit about running the country. So if you live outside the palace, how are you supposed to protect your shit from criminals? Hire a samurai. Everyone started hiring samurai. Rich, important people hired samurai. Poor people who could not afford to hire samurai did not hire samurai.
Makes sense.
The samurai became organized and powerful, more powerful than the government. So
wonder if in our modern day we could have some kind of return to this with like an Uber for samurai situation. Do you know what I'm saying? Where like if I wanted a samurai for the week or for a day, I could Uber a samurai. Yeah, like an Uber army. A Samuruber. That's what you get. Yeah. Blackwater-esque. No, you see, you guys are saying Pinkertons and private police. That's what rich people have, okay? Much like rich people used to have personal drivers. And then we got Uber and we democratized it to where almost anybody could use investor funds to get a personal driver. Now I want to get a personal samurai. No one studies the blade like they used to. Yeah, well, maybe you should start studying. When I create my startup, Uberi, you're gonna be a 5-star.
So they made their own military government. Here, they let the emperor still be emperor, but the shogun is actually in control. Breaking news, the Mongols have invaded China.
We've invaded China,
said the Mongols.
Please respect us, or else we might invade you as well.
Okay, said Japan. So the Mongols came over, ready for war, and died in a tornado. But they tried again, and had a nice time fighting with the Japanese, but then died in a tornado.
Clutch.
Then the emperor overthrows the shogunate. Then the shogunate overthrows him back and moves to Kyoto and makes a new shogunate. And the emperor can still dress like an emperor if he wants, that's fine. Now there's more art. Like painting with less colors, collaborative poetry, plays, monkey fun, tea parties, gardening, architecture, flowers. It's time for who's going to be the next shogun. Usually it's the shogun's kid, but the shogun doesn't have a kid. So he tries to get his brother to quit being a monk and be the next shogun. He says okay, but then the shogun has a kid. So now who's it going to be? Vote now on your phones. And everyone voted so hard that the palace caught on fire and burned down. The shogun actually didn't care. He was off somewhere doing poetry. And the whole country broke into pieces. Everyone is fighting with each other for local power, and it's anybody's game. Knock knock, it's Europe. No, they're not here to take over. They just want to sell some shit, like clocks and guns. And
yeah, I mean, so I know this part. Doesn't a ship full of guns crash land in some province here, and then that province becomes the most powerful by far, and then ends up uniting all of Japan? Yeah, Nobunaga.
Jesus. So that's cool, but everyone's still fighting each other for control, now with guns. And wouldn't it be nice to control the capital, which right now is puppets, with no one controlling them? This clan is ready to make a run for it, but first they have to trample this smaller clan, which is in the way. Surprise, the smaller clan wins, and the leader of that clan steals the idea of invading the capital and invades the capital, and it goes very well. He's about halfway through conquering Japan when someone who works for him kills him, and then someone else who works for him kills them, and that guy finishes conquering Japan. And then he confiscated everybody's swords and made some rules. And now I'm going to invade Korea and then hopefully China, he said, and failed, and also died. But before he died, he told these 5 guys to take care of his 5-year-old son until he's old enough to be the next ruler of Japan.
Okay.
And the 5 guys said, yeah, right. It's not going to be this kid. It's going to be one of us, because we're grown-ups. And it's probably going to be this guy, who happens to be way more rich and powerful than the others. A lot of people support him, but a lot of people support not supporting him. They have a fight, and he wins.
Oh, they kind of skipped over it, but that is the Admiral Yi part in Korea, right? Where he made the fucking turtle ships and trounced Japan and saved Korea. That's interesting on its own. Like the greatest naval commander ever. I think I learned about that in Korea. And from Age of Empires. Video's a little loud? Okay, I'll turn it down a little bit.
And starts a new government right here. And he still lets the emperor dress like an emperor and have very nice things.
Is there a good video on Admiral Yi? I would absolutely watch it. That sounds fucking sick.
But don't get confused. This is the new government, and they are very strict. So strict they closed the country. No one can leave and no one can come in, except for the Dutch if they want to buy and sell shit. But they have.
Wait, I'm gonna see if someone has a good Admiral Yi video. Oh, there's a sick extra history about him. Let's watch that after this. That sounds badass, dude. I really want to learn about Admiral Yi.
To do it right here. Now that the entire country was not at war with itself, the population increased a lot. Business increased, schools were built, roads were built, everyone learned to read, books were published, there was poetry, plays, sexy times, puppet shows, and Dutch studies. People started to study European science from books they bought from the Dutch. We're talking geography, skeletons, physics, chemistry, astronomy, and maybe even electricity. Over time, the economic and cultural prosperity began to gradually slow down. Knock knock. It's the United States, with huge boats, with guns, gunboats.
Okay.
Open the country. Stop having it be closed, said the United States. There was really nothing they could do, so they signed a contract that lets the United States, Britain, and Russia visit Japan anytime they want.
Wow.
Choshu and Satsuma hated this. That sucks, they said. This sucks. And with
USA.
almost very little outside help, they overthrew the shogunate and somehow made the emperor again and moved him to Edo, which they renamed Eastern Capital. They made a new government, which was a lot more Western. They made a new constitution that was pretty Western, and a military that was pretty Western. And do you know what else is Western? That's right, it's conquering stuff. So what can we conquer? Korea. They conquer Korea, taking it from its previous owner, China, and then go a little bit further. And Russia rushes in out of nowhere and says, "Stop, no, you can't
But
take
they
that. We were
lose.
going to build a railroad through here to try to get some warm water." And Russia builds their railroad, supervised by a shit ton of soldiers. And then when the railroad was done, they downgraded to a fuck ton. Did I say downgrade? I meant upgrade. And Japan says, "Can you maybe chill?" And Russia says, "How about maybe you chill?" Japan is kind of scared of Russia. You'll never guess who's also kind of scared of Russia. Great Britain. So Japan and Great Britain make an alliance together so they can be a little less scared of Russia.
Right.
Feeling confident, Japan goes to war against Russia, just for a moment, and then they both get tired and stop.
But Russia at this point is like falling way behind Europe and not modernized and has a shit army and has just a big desolate empire. But thinks they're stronger than they are. And then they lose this war. Yeah, but they're Russian. So same. No, I don't think it's the same now.
It's time for World War I. The world is about to have a war because it's the 1900s and weapons are getting crazy, and all these empires are excited to try them out on each other. Meanwhile, Japan has been enjoying conquering stuff and wants more. And the next thing on their list is this part of China and lots of tiny islands. All that stuff belongs to Germany, which just had war declared on it by Britain because Britain was friends with Belgium, which was being trespassed by Germany in order to get to France to kick France's ass because France is friends with Russia, who was getting ready to kick Austria's ass because Austria was getting ready to kick Serbia's ass because...
Average Eurofuck Tuesday, dude. You guys can't even get along on your own tiny continent. Figure it out, okay?
Someone from Serbia shot the leader of Austria's ass. Or, actually, shot him in the head. And Britain is currently friends with Japan. So you know what that means. Duh, Japan.
Did you guys know that all of Europe and Russia fits inside of Texas? That's a true fact. Don't look it up. It is true. Texas is literally bigger than all of Europe and Russia. Like this whole continent is just a fucking... It's crazy.
And Britain is currently friends with Japan. So you know what that means. Duh, Japan should take the islands. Which they wanted to do anyway. So they called Britain on the telly to sort of let them know. And then they did it. And they also helped Britain a little here and there with some errands and stuff. Now the war is over, and congratulations, Japan. You technically fought in the war, which means you get to sit at the negotiating table with the big dudes, where they decided who owns what. And yes, Japan gets to keep all that shit they stole from Germany. You also get to join the post-war mega alliance, the League of Nations, whose mission statement is to try not to take over the world. The Great Depression is bad, and Japan's economy is now crappy, but the military is doing just fine, and it invades Manchuria. And the League of Nations is like, no, don't do that. If you're in the League of Nations, you're not supposed to take over the world. And Japan said, how about I do anyway? And Japan invaded more and more and more and more of China, and was planning to invade the entire East.
You've got mail.
It's from Germany, the new leader of Germany. He has a cool mustache, and he's trying to take over the world and needs friends. This also got forwarded to Italy. They all decided to be friends because they had so much in common. It's time for World War II. Germany is invading the neighbors. Then they invade the neighbors' neighbors. Then the neighbors' neighbors' neighbors, who happen to be
My
Britain,
understanding,
said,
again, from watching the World War II documentary and a couple other things, is like, technically Japan and Germany were like an alliance in name only and never really did any coordinated things together. Like, they were part of this axis, but like it was like, they didn't really even talk that much. Like they didn't, they weren't even like trading. There was nothing. They were bad friends. I mean, they were like distant friends, I guess. They were awkward. They were socially awkward.
And the United States started helping Britain because they are good friends, and started not helping Japan because they're friends and our friends are not friends. Plus they're planning on invading the entire ocean.
Yeah, but I mean, all Japan really did for Germany in this alliance is they fucking Pearl Harbored USA, bringing them into the war, making the war in Europe even harder for Germany. Like, that's all Japan did for Germany. they're kind of a, no, they didn't do it for Germany. I'm saying That's all they did that impacted Germany. It's like a bot lane feeding, dude. That's what they didn't help in any way. They they fed top lane, then AFK'd, and then top lane came down and fucked everything up. Yeah, I mean, that didn't.
The United States is also working on a large, very huge bomb, bigger than any other bomb, ever, just in case. But they still haven't joined the war. War looks bad on TV, and the United States is really starting to care about their image. But then Japan spits on them in Hawaii and challenges them to war. And they say yes. And then Germany, as a symbol of friendship, declares war on the United States also. So the United States goes to war in Europe, and they help the gang chase Germany back into Germany. And they also start chasing Japan back into Japan. And they haven't used the bomb yet and are curious to see if it works. So they drop it on Japan. They actually dropped 2.
Yeah, another thing I read about this was that, so, you know, presidencies changed during World War II. And when Truman comes into power, they're already like really far on the bomb. And in generally, they're so eager to use it that he asks them, what are the estimated casualties of this bomb? And they gave him the lowest possible estimate because they were concerned he might not use it. So they said, they were like, you know, I don't remember the exact number, but it was like way lower than it ended up being. Because they were like, they really wanted to force it down mid and get it to be used. And so Truman, I mean, it probably wouldn't have dissuaded Truman if they told him a big number, but they didn't. Daniel's Pock, thank you for 34 months. Appreciate it. Excited for the 3 years.
The United States installed a new government, inspired by the United States government, with just the right ingredients for a post-war economic miracle. And Japan starts making TVs, VCRs, automobiles, and camcorders as fast as they can, and also better than everybody else. They get rich, and the economy goes
80s
wild,
are
and
insane.
then the miracle wears off. But everything's still pretty cool, I guess.
Again, there's more to the miracle wearing off. You gotta look into the Plaza Accords, very interesting. But yes, yeah, after 91, things change in Japan. Interesting video, for sure. For sure. I want to watch the Admiral Yi video bad, dude. Let's learn about fucking one of history's goated admirals. Man of the Sea. Admirals were kind of like the streamers of their day. You know what I'm saying? They captained a ship with a crew of a few thousand. Okay. Just as brave as well. Let's see. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, wait. Pause for literally 1 second. And by literally, I mean slightly more than that. I need to ask chat's help. Let's say, I want you to put yourself in an imagined situation. Imagine, let's say you are a streamer with poor value of money and you are hungry and you want to order food delivery to your house because you're starving hungry. And you have options, a lot of options living in Los Angeles. What would you order? What would be your order? What would you? This is it's purely hypothetical. It's a fun question. This is hypothetical. Yeah, I'm not gonna do it. I just want to know, like, what would you order right now, fast food wise, probably? Would you get Five Guys or would you get Chipotle? Because those are some of the best options that are short delivery. Assume that you are going to pay for it out of your editor's salary, so you're not worried about cost. What if you did a poll even? Does the US have good shawarma? Yeah, there's good shawarma places, but in terms of delivery speed, I'm thinking Five Guys. No, wait, I actually don't want to do this poll because if Five Guys wins, I'm gonna order a lettuce bun, and then you guys are gonna shit on me the whole time I eat it. So I'm actually not in the mood to be judged for my lettuce bun the whole fucking time that I eat my tasty burger. All right, I don't need that fucking back sass. So I guess I'll get fucking Chipotle, dude. I thought it was a hypothetical. Oh, the problem is I actually want Five Guys more. Fuck! I just saw the fry. I want the Cajun fries, dude, the Cahoon. Oh, this is a disaster, really. This is a disaster. No one's had a harder life than me. Oh, God, dude. Nobody has it more difficult, I swear. God keeps giving me the toughest challenges. I don't know what I'm supposed to do, but I guess I'm going to have to buckle down and order this Five Guys lettuce wrap sandwich and just take the heat, okay? I have to be brave. I have to be strong. Regular Cajun fries, don't mind if I do. And let's make sure those have a ketchup packet in there. And now I got to do a quick, polite check with the ladies to see if they want any Five Guys. However, I've confirmed they've already eaten, so I won't have to probably spend another $80 on delivery. Hey, either of you guys want anything from Five Guys? Because I'm ordering. Oh, can we get Cajun fries? Yep. They wanted Cajun fries. Do you guys want anything? I'll order for you as well. Plan slightly foiled. Plan slightly foiled. We'll get 2 Cajun fries. Okay. Dude, unironically, don't you think I could just get 1 Cajun fries because it's Five Guys? It's going to be so many fries. But there's 2 of them and they wanted fries. They sounded eager. Dude. Oh. All right. I'm not going to tell you the price. The price was $8. It was very cheap. Don't even worry about it. You're fat, get 2. Okay. Thank you very much. How many battle reports did it cost? How many battle reports did it cost? That's what I measure it in. Every time I buy something, I think of how many battle reports I could have bought instead. And then I'm happy with my purchase. Okay, let's watch this. Let's watch this. Watch this. Extra history about Admiral Yi.
1572, 26 years earlier. A 28-year-old man rides across an open plain. A group of military men stand quietly, observing. His horse stumbles. He's thrown. At first, everybody watching thinks he's dead. His leg is horribly bent, broken. But after a moment, he gets up, dragging one leg behind him, and pulls himself to a willow tree.
Okay.
He binds his leg with its branches, remounts his horse, and finishes the military examination. He fails the exam anyway, but 4 years later, he'll be back.
That's insane to fail him. That's like the most Giga Chad thing a soldier could ever do. To hand him an F after that is crazy. That's exactly what you want on the battlefield. Nice try, but yeah, your time was too slow. That's crazy.
He'll pass, and so will begin the career of one of the most glorious admirals of all time. It's strange that this man even decided to join the military. Korea had known 200 years of relative peace, threatened only by the occasional raids from the Jurchen tribes on the northern border and pirate crews plying the nearby sea. The
pirates.
military was not a highly respected career choice for a man of noble birth. Taking the civil service exams and joining the ranks of the Confucian court was a much better way to achieve power and success. And yet this man, Yi Sun-shin, though he was schooled in the Confucian texts, had dreamed of being a soldier since he was a little boy.
Okay.
And so at last, when he had passed the military exam, he was appointed to a desolate fort along the northern border. While most of the border forts were pits of corruption, seen simply as a place to dump individuals who had fallen out of favor with the court, Yi drilled his men rigorously and refortified his post, bringing it up to true readiness in case of an attack. One day, the provincial governor came by to inspect the post. This was a man all of the fort commanders dreaded, known for his harsh punishments and brutal discipline. But when he came to Yi, he simply said, Well done. And moved on. Shortly thereafter, Yi was
Holy
moved
shit,
back
clutch.
to Seoul, a sign of growing favor, and he was given a post at the military academy there, training new recruits. He was by all accounts rigorous, diligent, and incorruptible. And this was exactly the problem. At this time,
I would like to vote for Admiral Yi, a Korean admiral from hundreds of years ago, for U.S. president. Who's with me? Okay? I would like to bring him back. He may not speak English, but I think we can put him in office.
the military academy was actually a tool for younger noble sons to jump up
If
the
we all
ranks
write it
quickly,
in.
and for courtiers to channel their favorite people into the cushiest assignments. And Yi was not cooperating. So, after a short stay in Seoul, he was booted back to a provincial assignment. By July, though, he had secured a position running a naval garrison and was rapidly rising up the ranks again. But here, too, he was schemed against by corrupt officials. Many attempts were made to have Yi removed, but each one he parried expertly until, one day, one of his previous superiors from the military academy, one who Yi had rebuked for corruption, was called to his province to do an inspection. Seeing an opportunity for revenge, the inspector wrote a report castigating Yi, saying he was completely negligent. When the report got to Seoul, Yi found himself dismissed from the military entirely.
Boo!
4 months later, though, he was vindicated. Found innocent of the charges against him, he was returned to service, but demoted to the lowest possible officer grade. He might have languished at this menial post, but at last his diligence was finally rewarded when he was brought back to meaningful duty by none other than one of his former rivals. One of the fleet commanders who Yi had served under while maintaining the naval garrison had been transferred to the northern frontier, and knowing that he'd need good, capable officers, he requested Yi be sent with him.
He was actually good,
Soon, though, it became clear that Yi was needed to garrison a fort on the Tumen River, which was one of the demarcation lines between Jurchen and Korean territory. Jurchen raiders roamed far south of the Korean border, looting and pillaging at will. Raids had nearly overrun the nearby frontier province, and so Yi took up the post. He drilled his troops until they were in top shape, and knowing that simply shoring up the defenses wouldn't be enough, he laid his troops out for an ambush and then
drilling
lured
your
the
troops
raiders
so
into
much,
Korean
Yi.
territory. He fell on them with a ferocity and a swiftness they had never seen in Korea. Within hours, the tribes were smashed and their power shattered. They would never again be such a threat to the province. But here, too, Yi was stymied by a jealous superior, and while the court was jubilant about his success, the official record reads, although the court recognized Yi Sun-shin's meritorious service to the king, it nevertheless decided against awarding him a prize.
Boo!
Shortly after this, Yi's father died, and being deeply rooted in Confucian ideals, Yi retired home for 3 years in accordance with the traditional mourning period. When he at last returned to service, he was put in charge of transportation for the court, but a mere 16 days later, it was decided that Yi
jobs nowadays wouldn't give you a half hour. Your dad could die while you're at work, and you'd have to finish your shift, bro. That's crazy. 3 years. Yeah, you definitely had a lot of haters.
was needed too badly at the border, and once again he was sent north. He was to man a small island fortress. Undermanned, crumbling, beyond disrepair, he once again drilled its garrison, shored up its defenses, and week after week sent out a request to the district commander for reinforcements. Then, one morning, as the mists rolled in and most of the men were out harvesting rice, because the military was in such a state that men on the border had to harvest their own food, the Jurchen attacked, pouring out of the mist on horseback. Yi Sun-shin only had a dozen men to defend with. He and his handful of soldiers fought desperately, cutting their way to one group of captives and escaping with 50 people the Jurchen would have taken prisoner. But by this time, you know the story. In order to avoid blame, Yi's superior, a man named Yi Il, blamed the entire defeat on Yi Sun-shin. He had him brought back to the capital, tortured, and...
Bro, he has so many ops, it's crazy! His whole life is like trying to do something good for Korea and getting fucked over.
Put on trial in an attempt to have him condemned so that Yi Il could avoid any of the blame. But Yi Sun-shin did not crack under torture, and when it came time to take the stand, he said this to Yi Il. My lord, you are asking me to assume the whole responsibility for the misfortune, but you are wrong. May I remind you that you have always refused my frequent request for reinforcement. The defeat was not a result of my negligence of duty, but in large part, your fault. Therefore, it is not I, but you, who should be held responsible for the defeat.
Based.
The court was stunned. Many of them knew of Yi's record and were inclined to believe him, so in the end, he was allowed to live, but he was stripped of his rank again and returned to the army as a common enlisted man, starting over at the very bottom, as if he'd never taken the military examinations.
Bro, he's had to reset like
he was once again placed on the northern border and asked to fight the invading tribes, and once again...
You know what, though? It's almost like he's getting to do Edge of Tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? He gets to restart from the beginning of the military every time and do it right. He's like getting practice in, dude. He's getting, he's getting live, die, repeat. That's why he's going to be the GOAT.
Again, he did so with distinction, until finally in 1588, he asked that he be allowed to retire. But storm clouds were gathering over Korea, and some, especially his longtime friend, a man named Ryu Sung-young, recognized that soon the country would have need of good military men. While Yi had struggled through his career in the military, Ryu, his childhood compatriot, who had been his...
I'll pause for a second to check the thing, because there's ads. I will pause. This is... long time friend does not mean... Ads over? Okay, good. All right, good.
Companion in games of war, had risen to be Prime Minister of Korea. It was actually through Ryu's influence, and because of his subtle aid, that Yi had time and again survived the machinations held against him. Now, Ryu planned to see that Yi would take his rightful place for the war he feared was coming.
Good friend!
On the next episode of Extra History, remember how in the Sengoku Jidai episodes we talked about that messy Japanese invasion?
Wait, I'll just go right to part 2.
Jidai episode was coming. Now, on the next episode of Extra History, remember how in the Sengoku Jidai episodes we talked about that messy Japanese invasion of Korea? Well, that's about to happen.
Part 2, be like a mountain. Admiral Yi, be like a mountain.
At last, we've passed the phase of Yi's life where his every effort is thwarted by the machinations of corrupt officials and jealous superiors. Finally, we can begin the story that sees Yi rise to be the national hero of Korea. But first, we have to talk about the two contrasting states that are about to meet.
Wait, I want to know this. How old is Admiral Yi at this point? Admiral Yi Sun Shin. Wikipedia. So he is born the year 1545. And he wants to retire in 1588, they said. So he's like 43. 43, okay. He's about 43.
Bloody battle. If you watched the Sengoku Jidai episodes, you'll remember that Japan had just come out of 100 years of ceaseless war. Their entire society was built off of a martial hierarchy, where the most glorious thing a man could do was fight. Japan had fielded giant armies and had an economy devoted to war. They had hundreds of thousands of veteran soldiers, and they had seasoned generals, battle-hardened from years of campaigning. And now, for the first time ever, all those forces were unified under one man, Toyotomi Hideyoshi. The Korean state had, by contrast, been mostly at peace for 200 years. The state itself was a Confucian bureaucracy, which should have meant that it was an enlightened meritocracy, but in truth, the Korean government was rotten to its core, full of factional infighting and led by a king who perhaps might have been a great leader in times of peace, but was utterly unsuited for a state of war. In terms of military thinking, the Japanese had spent years perfecting the art of war. The daimyos had become early adopters of the arquebus, and had rapidly innovated on firearm manufacturing and tactics. They had created movable field works to protect their gunners, coordinated the use of spears and arquebusiers, drilled the men to release large, simultaneous volleys to break up a charge, and trained them to wait to fire until they were within an effective range.
Smart.
They were such enthusiastic adopters of the arquebus that when the Japanese eventually arrived on Korean shores, about a quarter of their total force would be armed with this fearsome weapon. The Japanese...
And yet today, the Japanese have like no guns in their society. Well, we have plenty. Curious. Perhaps they didn't love them as much as they claim. Okay? They're not true fans of the gun.
had also become masters of the siege after so many decades of having to topple the highly wrought, master-crafted Japanese castles of the Sengoku age. The Koreans, on the other hand, had largely ignored the introduction of personal firearms and still relied mainly on the bow.
Sheesh.
But because the bow is a weapon that requires a great deal of training and the Korean military was in a dissipated state, the actual number of effective troops they could field with this weapon was now very limited. The lists of who they could call to military service were all out of date, and so the initial mustering of forces would lag behind, and Korean defensive works were mostly just simple stone walls atop hills or mountains. But the Koreans did have two advantages.
What do they got?
Since the war that had been burning through Japan for the last 100 years was a civil war, and thus mostly land-based, Japan hadn't built up its navy nearly as much as their other armed forces. Additionally, while Japan produced vastly superior handguns, the Koreans had developed better naval cannon. And this all makes sense when you think about what both of these forces were used to facing. Japanese forces were used to fighting large, organized land armies, and so they'd focused on developing the weapons and techniques required to counter them. Whereas Korea had mostly dealt with pirates and raiders, so they'd built cannon to help defend their coast, and they built simple hill forts so that when raiders showed up, the people could hide in the forts and simply wait for the raiders to go away. They didn't need complex structures, because the enemy Korea usually faced wasn't an enemy bent on conquest. But that was about to change.
I see.
Between 1587 and 1592, emissaries raced back and forth between Japan and Korea. Hideyoshi wanted the Koreans to just let him march his armies through their lands in order to attack his intended target, China. But besides the fact that letting giant foreign armies march across your country is generally a bad idea, the Koreans...
People used to do this in free-for-all Age of Empires games, where it's like, hey, can you ally me real quick? Because like if you'd have a big border of cannons or like towers or some shit, they'd be like, can you ally me real quick so I can just walk through? I'm gonna kill the other guy. And then you go through their gate and then get inside, and then you'd unally them, and then all your soldiers would kill all their fucking farms and shit and blow. That was classic. People used to do that shit all the time. Just straight lie.
Also happened to be tributary allies of the Chinese with strong cultural and economic ties, so letting this army march through uncontested was out of the question. This whole thing seemed like madness to them. The idea that the Japanese would even ask for such a thing was unfathomable to many in court. At first, they assumed the request must be a bluff, maybe a negotiating tactic that would eventually end in the Japanese asking for trade concessions or tribute or something. But Ryu Song-yong saw further, to what was really about to go down. And so he got Yi a naval appointment in the southwestern part of Korea and helped to make sure that he rose rapidly through the ranks, becoming the naval commander for the province by 1591. This is where Yi's story really begins. Upon taking command, Yi saw the dire straits the Navy was in and knew he had little time. He began drilling his men and instilling in them the spirit they needed for the war to come. He commissioned a new type of ship, the famous turtle ship, which he helped design.
This is really the story of how Admiral Yi drilled all of the men in Korea. All the way across Korea.
It was a remarkable piece of naval technology, with a spiked roof to keep enemy boarding parties out, and a dragon...
This is the GOAT. This is, I mean, I learned about this again from Age of Empires, but like, if you play as Korea, you got to get turtle ships, and they were so fucking goated. They were so sick and powerful and cool, and so I learned about it because of that. He made Bowser. This is where the Japanese got the idea from Bowser, dude. They got cooked by these and thought, well, that's the perfect villain.
Head prow that could serve as a cannon or billow out noxious smoke. But even before the first of these ships could see active service, it happened. Sentries all across the southeast coast began to spot ships coming over the horizon. Then tens of ships. Then hundreds. This massive fleet flew no sails known to Korean arms. Fires were lit and word was spread. The Japanese were coming. But the local commanders refused to believe what they were seeing. They suggested that maybe it was a trade fleet, or maybe even a large tribute mission from the Japanese to apologize for how rude their ambassadors had been.
Holy copium! There's a huge fleet now. They're probably just bringing us gold to apologize for the rudeness of their ambassadors. That's cosmic cope.
And so, the local commanders did nothing. The approaching ships began to dock at Busan. Soldiers, fully armored and prepared for war, began to disembark from the ships, and still the local commanders did nothing. By nightfall, 300 ships full of warriors had landed. A Japanese army was now in Korea. Finally, the commanders realized what had just happened, but by now it was far too late. With well over 100 heavy Korean ships of war at the ready, they had just sat and watched this happen without even moving a single one of those ships out to scout the fleet. If they had, they would have found out that this was a Japanese commander acting against orders. Eager to be the first to Korea, he had sailed his fleet before their warship arrived. Turns out nearly all of those hundreds of ships were unarmed transports. No match for the Korean Navy, which still sat anchored at port doing nothing. The Japanese force moved like lightning, smashing army after army, crushing all in their way. Within the month, the Japanese were already in Seoul, 200 miles inland. Korean resistance had collapsed. And as the Japanese had pushed inland and moved out of Busan, the local commanders had scuttled their fleets. 100 Korean warships lost without a fight. But Busan's local commanders had sent word to Yi, asking for his help. So Yi set out with all 24 ships under his command, writing to other local commanders and telling them to rendezvous with him at sea. He left under cover of darkness and sailed through the night so his movements wouldn't be observed. By the time the various fleets met, they'd scraped together 45 warships and a handful of commandeered fishing ships. But Yi, despite never having commanded a battle at sea before, had a plan. He would fall on the Japanese while they were in harbor during the chaos of a sack. He found 50 of their vessels tied up at Okpo and descended upon them. The Japanese were mostly away from their ships at the time, looting and slaughtering the population. The roar of cannon alerted them to their mistake. Yi and his fleet tore through the enemy ships, salvo after salvo ripping into the light wood of the Japanese vessels. The Japanese tried to mount a defense, but to no avail. Soon their men were throwing their weapons and armor overboard and trying to swim for the shore. By nightfall, 26 Japanese ships rested at the bottom of the harbor. Only one Korean sailor was injured. Yi decided to disappear back into open water before his forces fell into the same trap he'd just sprung on his enemy. But as they sailed, one of his outlying ships spotted 5 more Japanese warships. Yi fell upon them with a vengeance. Only one managed to escape. Then new reports came in of 13 more ships near Chinhae. When the sailors on those ships saw Yi, they abandoned their vessels entirely and fled on foot into the mountains. 43 Japanese ships sunk, and Yi had not lost a single vessel.
Giga Chad!
He was promoted to General Command of the Southern Navy for his actions, but the sight of Japanese slaughtering civilians would stick with him forever and harden his resolve to defend the people of Korea. Join us next time as everyone else in Korea keeps losing, and Admiral Yi keeps winning.
All right, I gotta learn about this. Part 3, The Bright Moonlight of Hansanado. The dude who couldn't take an L.
The king had fled from Seoul. The court was making the arduous trek to Pyongyang. Half of Korea was already in Japanese hands. Yi Il, the very same man who had once tried to pass his negligence off to Yi Sun-shin, was the commander of the Korean army. His forces were routed in battle.
Dude completely threw Yi under the bus and is now the fucking commander? Wow. Failing upwards, bro. That guy's...
After battle. Essential fortifications and choke points were abandoned, surrendered with barely a fight. Then, in the Battle of Cheongju, the regular Korean forces, under the command of a man named Shin Rip, were annihilated. This is the moment that forces the king to abandon his capital. This is the moment that leads many to fear that Korea as a nation may not survive.
Oh shit.
But on the very same day that the king fled from his seat, Admiral Yi was destroying the Japanese fleet in Okpo Harbor. Hope for the nation lived in a handful of ships plying the coast. For 3 weeks after Okpo, Yi gathered charts, scouted out...
This kind of explains to me why he's such a big deal in Korea. I remember learning about him there. I mean, this guy's like the ultimate. He's the ultimate him, dude.
The enemy fleet and waited for his secret weapon, the turtle ship, to arrive.
You know what the opposite of this is? When I went to New Zealand and saw their war museum, which is all about a battle they lost horrendously. What was the name of the battle? What was the name of the battle? Gallipoli? Yeah, it was Gallipoli. Yes, it was all about a battle where they sent all of their troops to, I think, help Britain in a terrible, tragic loss of a battle that was a disaster and poorly planned from minute one. It was just funny because, you know, I just grew up on American military bases, and so I've been to a lot of like military museums and shit. But almost always they're like, they celebrate the good parts and downplay the bad parts. And New Zealand didn't have, New Zealand had this just one big L wrapped up with Britain.
Then his spies reported to him that the Japanese were anchored at Sachun. This was too near.
Gallipoli is a formative event in Australia and New Zealand history because it inspired more independence. Australia lost so hard at Gallipoli that we decided to stop being cucks to Britain. I guess it's an eternal reminder of British military command and and how poorly planned it was. That's funny. All right, I get it. Anyway,
his personal headquarters for comfort. So it was time he tested out the turtle ship. It was time he drove them
Turtle
off.
ship.
But when his tiny fleet of 26 ships arrived outside Sachin, he saw that the Japanese arquebusiers had taken up positions along the cliffs above the harbor. If he were to attack, they could pour down fire on his ships. He pondered this for a moment. Then he sent a small detachment to sail within sight of the Japanese fleet. Once they were sure the Japanese had spotted them, they turned and fled, and the Japanese gave chase. But the retreat was feigned. As soon as the Japanese fleet entered open water, Yi fell upon them with his entire force. His turtle ship plowed into the middle of the Japanese armada. Cannon fire rang out from all sides. Ships splintered and burned in the setting sun. The Japanese tried to close in, but they couldn't manage to board the covered turtle ship. With the Korean warships surrounding them and the turtle ship in their midst, the Japanese fought a hopeless battle until all 13 of the ships that had pursued the Koreans to open water were at the bottom of the sea. Not a single Korean vessel was lost. After the battle, as his commanders gathered for a debriefing, Yi loosed his coat, pulled out a sword, and dug out a bullet that had lodged in his shoulder. His sub-commanders were amazed. To maintain morale, Yi had let no one know that he'd been injured in the fight. But as they all sat dumbfounded, Yi simply began to brief them on what to do in case of a counterattack. The next day, local fishermen reported to Yi that the Japanese were anchored at Dangpo, and that their men were sacking the city. Yi ordered his fleet to move with all haste. He would not let another Japanese slaughter go unanswered. When they reached the harbor city of Dangpo, he once again smashed through the enemy line with his turtle ship, positioned it right next to the enemy flagship, and buried shot after shot in its side. With his turtle ship in their midst, the enemy couldn't maneuver, and because the turtle ship had heavy guns on all sides, it couldn't be flanked. It simply loosed salvo after salvo at everything around it. And while the turtle ship caused chaos, the rest of the Korean ships surrounded the Japanese and trapped them in the harbor.
Encircled.
At the height of the battle, one of Yi Sun-shin's sub-commanders, Kwon-jun, stood upon the deck of his vessel, drew his bow, and loosed an arrow at the enemy admiral. The shot found its mark. Two of his men then leapt upon the enemy flagship and cut off the Japanese admiral's head. Seeing their commander's head held aloft, the Japanese were thrown into a panic. Command broke down, and in the chaos, Yi's ships sank the Japanese vessels one by one. As night fell and the Koreans withdrew, not a single Japanese ship remained. 2 days later, another Korean fleet, a fleet that was supposed to have joined them before any of this began but ran behind, finally rendezvoused with Yi, bringing his squadron up to 51 ships in total. With this larger force, he began to chase...
Dude, this kind of reminds me of, there was this game called Empire Earth. You know how Age of Empires is like all set in the past? Empire Earth was a game where you start out in caveman times and you can tech up all the way to the future. Space vehicles or whatever. It's a good game. But if you played online multiplayer, like for single player, that makes sense and it's fun. But I play a lot of multiplayer in that game. And it's actually pretty roughly balanced because, you know, all you do is spend some resources and then you tech up. And then all of a sudden you're 150 years in the future. And so occasionally someone would have like swordsmen and you would press a button and then your horsemen would just upgrade into tanks. And then you just, but it's a real-time game. It's not like Civ. Civ is much more slower paced. Empire Earth is RTS. Like it's a game where you have troops that are walking down the field and just turn into tanks instantly. And then, so like you would time your attacks around upgrades. And if you had a better upgrade, it would just like you could have tanks that just instantly kill everything around them. It's 100-0. So, you know, the game would often revolve around these timing attacks where you would instantly upgrade and then just blow the shit out of people.
Down rumors of another anchored Japanese fleet sacking a Korean town. The rumor turned out to be true, and again, Yi pounced upon the Japanese while they were disorganized, plundering a town. Again, Yi sent his turtle ship into their midst, and again, he used a feigned retreat to lure them out into open water, although this time he did it to keep the Japanese from fleeing to shore if they were defeated. Again, they followed, and again, upon his signal, his fleet turned upon their pursuers. Again, the Japanese admiral fell in the battle, and Japanese morale broke. Again, the Koreans trapped the fleeing vessels, and again, the Japanese fleet, 26 ships in all, was destroyed without a single loss for these forces. Turtle ship was OP.
Wear a helmet.
Upon hearing of all this, Hideyoshi was furious. He was so close to conquering Korea. His men had taken Pyongyang. The Korean court had been driven all the way to a tiny border village. Any further and the King of Korea wouldn't even be on Korean soil anymore. There was only one province he had not yet been able to overrun, Chola, where Yi was based. And without control of the sea, he couldn't resupply his massive
And Yi was based.
army in the field. Yi must be destroyed. The order was given. There would be no more land raids from his navy until Yi's fleet was at the bottom of the Tsushima Strait. He ordered his admirals to pool their forces and to form a massive fleet to sweep aside this admiral that was causing him so much pain.
Sounds like
the
Rome
three
at
main
Cannae.
Japanese admirals were to gather their fleets in Busan, but the admiral with the largest fleet, Wakisaka Yasuharu, decided that bringing the fleets together was taking too long. Side note, if you watched our Sengoku Jidai series, this is one of the men who would eventually betray Ishida at the Battle of Sekigahara. Anyway, eager for glory and unwilling to wait for the rest of the Japanese forces, he set out with his 73 ships. I mean, why wait? He had 73 of the best ships in the
you can't
Japanese
lose.
fleet, and he knew Yi's armada, however devastating they might have been so far, was a small force. But Yi hadn't been idle after his last battle. He'd been drilling his men in new tactics and constructing additional ships. With these new additions, his fleet now numbered 56, and most importantly,
He never
with
stops.
2 new turtle ships he could bring to bear. On July 7th, 1592, a local farmer came to tell Yi that he had seen a huge Japanese armada,
He's always
at
drilling.
least 70 ships strong, in the Kyonerang Strait. Yi had his fleet there by the next day. Knowing that he couldn't maneuver in the strait, Yi sent out 6 of his ships to
Don't do
lure
it
the
again.
Japanese, and sure enough,
Don't
the
do it
entire
again.
Japanese force followed at all
Don't
haste.
do it
But this
again,
time,
bro.
the Japanese faced yet another surprise. This technique of luring out the Japanese had been working so well that Yi had trained his men in a special formation called the Crane's Wing, where they would form a U around the enemy vessels that chased his ships, compressing them from all sides, making them easy targets, and leaving them no room to maneuver.
Bro, the ocean is flat. You can see a long distance. These guys are literally pre-encircling you and luring you in. That's crazy. They're pre-encircling. You're literally walking into an open circle. That's crazy. They do it behind the horizon. Listen, I'm sure there's more to it IRL. But to fall for this lure strategy 3 times is a lack of
Crane's
communication
wing
at the very
descended.
least.
The sound of cannon fire ripped the air. One of the largest naval battles in world history raged for hours. But when the smoke
I'm a
cleared,
flat earther.
47 of the Japanese ships were sunk and 12 were captured. Only 14 of them escaped to the harbor at Busan. And still, not a single Korean ship was
That's
lost.
fucking
The next
insane.
day, Yi was informed of the location of the other 2 admirals' fleets.
That's
They
fucking
were anchored together at
insane.
Angolpo. Yi saw the opportunity for a decisive blow, and so he
Still
set his
no
vessels fresh off the
ships?
last battle towards another attack. This time, though, no matter what he tried, the Japanese refused to be lured out of their position. So Yi sent his ships in small assault squads, using their superior range to hammer the
Oh,
largest
now
of the
you get
Japanese
it.
ships, then moving clear so another squad could circle in and fire. The battle was long and bloody. Though still none of Yi's ships were sunk, between the action outside of Kyonerang and the Battle of Angolpo,
I'm sorry, the battle was long and bloody. They didn't fall for your trap, and you still didn't lose a single ship? What the fuck?
hundreds of his sailors were wounded. It was the most damage the Japanese had done to Yi's fleet to date. But the majority of the Japanese fleet in the harbor was destroyed. Only a few ships remained, and these Yi ordered not to be touched, because many of the Japanese soldiers had fled to the nearby shore, and, as he said, many brigands escaped into the mountains where local inhabitants have taken refuge. If all the Japanese ships were to be burned, the brigands would massacre Korean citizens in revenge. As he expected, instead of slaughtering the peasants in the hills, the Japanese boarded their remaining boats and slipped away in the night. 6 days later, upon hearing the news of these calamitous defeats, Hideyoshi ordered all offensive naval operations to cease. From now on, the Japanese Navy would only guard the passage to Busan. And so, with one stroke, Yi destroyed all of Hideyoshi's hopes for invading China. And without being able to resupply from the sea, even the Japanese efforts on the Korean peninsula were in jeopardy. The supply lines to the forces occupying Pyongyang were sorely stretched, and pursuing the Korean court any further became effectively impossible. Though the Korean army had been beaten on land time and time again, Yi had saved Korea.
That's
but the
crazy.
war wasn't over. Join us next time for Yi's attempt to land a finishing blow, treachery, and perhaps the greatest last stand in naval history.
Oh, we gotta see that. We gotta see that. Where's the fucking link? So far, even more impressive than I thought. I knew he was a good admiral. I did not know that he essentially single-handedly saved Korea. Like, almost certainly is a man that, had he not existed or had died in that raid, would have altered the course of that country's history. That's fucking sick. That's really insane.
Last time, we left Yi storming through the waters south of Korea, savaging the Japanese fleet wherever he went. He had driven them first to consolidate their forces to try to thwart him, and then, finally, to give up on offensive naval operations entirely, restricting their fleets to just defending the vital supplies coming in at Busan. Now it was in this last harbor that Yi would attack them. In the 2 months since the Battle of Angulpo, Yi had trained his men, reinforced his fleet, and tried to rationalize the structure of Korean naval command.
Now you say trained.
Now, on September 1st, 1592, he was ready to take on the combined Japanese armada at Busan. His fleet of 166 ships set out to destroy the nearly 500 Japanese ships awaiting them in Busan Bay.
500?
He caught a few stragglers along the way, but the Japanese had finally learned from their past encounters with him. They were holed up in the harbor now, and while Yi's ships were able to fire into the harbor from outside Japanese cannon range, he couldn't find an opening to get close enough to achieve the type of complete victory he craved.
Right.
As long as the Japanese were in that harbor, they were protected by the surrounding troops and cannon on the shore.
Right.
By the end of the day, Yi's fleet had destroyed 130 ships, and the Japanese hadn't sunk a single vessel, but the Japanese forces still held the all-important harbor of Busan. Yi had not been able to break their last line of supply. Now they'd be able to re-entrench and reinforce the harbor. As winter set in and the campaign season slowed down, the situation on the ground changed as well. An army from China had finally arrived in the north, and by January they had driven the Japanese out of Pyongyang. All over the country, the Japanese started to fall back, unable to sustain their lengthy lines of supply due to Yi.
I'm surprised China didn't keep up their own push, though, and take advantage of Korea's relative weakness. They just helped.
Bottling up of their navy. By April, Seoul was retaken as well, and Busan served as the last great Japanese stronghold, anchoring their control on southern Korea. By August, Yi was promoted to Supreme Commander of the Korean Army and moved his base to the island of Hansando, where he had previously used his crane wing formation to crush the Japanese offensive fleet. Again and again, Yi petitioned the court for Marines so that he could resume naval operations, because his fleet couldn't attack the Japanese so long as they stayed defended under their shore guns, and without Marines, he couldn't dislodge the shore batteries in order to follow up with the naval attack. But the Korean army was still in disarray.
I think the problem is, this is what the problem the Marines always have, is they try to get the bravest people to join, but they all instead become streamers. So like the Marines have a really hard time recruiting because they can only get the cowards. Do you know what I'm saying? But all the really brave people go into a different profession. So it's a challenge. It's a challenge for sure. Can you run it back from part one? That's what they mean.
At this point, some of the most significant military gains on land were actually being
Marine
made by
ads
guerrilla
on this
forces
site.
and the righteous army.
Wait, do you get Marine ads on Twitch? Why do they want my lazy ass? Do you really? That's funny. They'll regret it, bro. They'll regret who comes in. They compare it to gaming. I do know the military's recruiting on Twitch. I know that, but it's just funny. I feel like unless you're doing drone controls, I don't know who you're recruiting here. Yeah, drones use Xbox controllers. I got a Navy ad with the tagline, "We don't like campers either." What, are you serious? Can I see this? Wait, Navy ad, "We don't like campers either." Is that real? Oh, it apparently is real, but I can't find it. Maybe it's on TikTok. Let's see. We don't like campers either.
Name a better commercial.
Sorry. I don't get it.
Name a better
Wait,
commercial.
what? That's not it. That's just ocean sounds. That was the first result. Footprints? I see. I didn't see it. It was kind of dark.
This is what it's like to be known as.
Oh, maybe this is it? OG vid from the Navy?
I said I'd never join. Thought living on sub would be too hard.
I figured only the weatherman track storms.
I said my job wouldn't matter. Never knew how strong I was. I never thought this would be my commute.
We should make one of these for the ACLU, and it's like people recording glizzy songs and shit. Do they say it or no?
I'd never get out of my hometown. Or be the one who stops an attack.
Joining the Navy sounds crazy.
Saying never actually is.
Navy, forged by the sea. I believe you that you saw it, but I can't find it, bro. I can't. You got an Air Force ad? That's funny. All right, who here is enlisting now? Now that you've seen that sick ad. Damn, I wish I could find this fucking campers. That sounds really funny, and it sounds like it's real because I see people talking about it, but... all right, whatever. Back to the Yi Sun-shin. Admiral Yi. Admiral Yi.
Armies of Buddhist monks, and what little of the regular army there was not already deployed on the main offensive with the Chinese was simply not up to the task Yi needed. And so his fleet sat, patrolled the waters, and kept the Japanese from breaking out of Busan. They would not get to engage in another major battle for some time. So instead, Yi focused on turning his island base into a production center. With the country ravaged by war and most of the working-age men conscripted into the army or the navy, the central government couldn't provide Yi's forces with the food, lumber, or weapons he needed
He's
to
gotta
keep
do
his
everything,
men fed
bro.
and his fleet in top shape.
He's gotta
so he
win the
invited
battles
refugees
and make
to
the
come to his
economy?
island. He would protect them if they would work the land. At first they were just producing grain, but soon they were harvesting salt and timber. Then the production facilities grew to...
Someone said man is playing Civ. He literally is. He's getting all the natural... He's building the entire supply chain from first principles, and he has to drill every man.
Handle boat building and uniform manufacturing. Soon there was a full-fledged R&D wing on the island, and great forges to produce goods of iron. The first truly successful Korean muskets were forged here by Yi's research team. But as Yi was making his navy self-sufficient, the land war in Korea slowly ground to a stalemate, and peace talks began. The talks wore on for 3.5 years, until in September 1596,
Japanese.
negotiations broke down, and Hideyoshi prepared a second invading force of 141,500 men to head to the shores of Korea. As this new invasion force was setting sail, the Korean court received a letter from one of the Japanese commanders, in which he appeared to be selling out one of his counterparts, telling the Koreans exactly where his hated rival's fleet would be sailing, and suggesting that if only Admiral Yi Sun-shin would sail there, he could wipe them out and do everybody a favor.
They really thought they ate with that one. We'll get them on this one. See if you lure us, we're going to lure you. I wonder if it works.
Now, Admiral Yi heard this and laughed. Yeah, nice try. He refused the order to sail his fleet into an obvious Japanese trap.
That's so funny.
But Yi's childhood friend, Ryu Sung-young, had enemies in court, and when they heard of Yi's refusal to follow orders, they seized on this opportunity and had Yi tried for treason. Ryu could do nothing to save him.
Bro!
Yi was ordered to return to Seoul for
He
his
saved the
punishment. His
fucking
replacement
country!
as head of the Navy would be Won Kyun. This was the guy who'd sat and done nothing when the Japanese ships first invaded, and then promptly scuttled his own fleet. A fleet 4 times as large as the one Yi had been using to inflict such heavy losses on their enemies. Yi was nearly sentenced to death for his insubordination, but there were still those in court who saw his value, and though they couldn't save him entirely, they did save his life. He was once more reduced to the rank of a common soldier and sent off to fight with one of the armies. But not long after he arrived at the army, the Japanese tried the same trick again. They sent the court a letter, this time informing them of a large transport fleet that was on its way, and saying how easy it would be to pick off these transports if they hurried. Won Kyun was ordered to intercept this juicy target, and he immediately set sail with every ship Yi had built. But when saying how easy it would be to pick off these transports if they hurried. Won Kyun was ordered to intercept this juicy target, and he immediately set sail with every ship Yi had built.
Are you guys hearing him or am I crazy? You can hear this? Right here.
Won Kyun was ordered to intercept this juicy target, and he immediately set sail with every ship Yi had built. But when he reached the waters near Busan, he was shocked to find not an unarmed transport convoy, but a massive war fleet of 500 ships. Despite this...
I'm now realizing, dude, I've been in these Discord calls where I keep telling people, like, hey, your audio cut out. I'm now realizing 100% it is my headphones every time. They're clearly not working. They are clearly cutting out. That is a factoroonie. All right, facts.
And the exhaustion his men faced from traveling so quickly, Won Kyun ordered a head-on assault. The winds picked up, and a gale began to form. Won Kyun couldn't keep his fleet together. Soon, some 30 Korean ships were burning, having drifted close enough to the enemy that, for the first time in the war, the Japanese could deploy their preferred form of naval warfare.
Obviously, this is bad for Korea, but it's kind of like, for Yi's overall legacy, this is the GOAT situation because, you know, people could have given all the credit to the turtle ships. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like when LeBron leaves the Cavs and they suck ass. It just shows that, like, you were the man. It's legacy points for sure. It shows that they put it in someone else's hands. Korea's fucked.
Warfare. Boarding parties. In a panic, Won Kyun ordered a retreat and fled to the island of Kadokdo, where he ordered his men off the ships to resupply. What he hadn't realized was that this island was under Japanese control. As his men searched for fresh water, they were set upon by the Japanese island garrison and slaughtered. Those who escaped fled back to the ships without any...
Oh, yeah! It's burger time!
It's the 5 gals. Why are you laughing?
Guess why?
Burger. Wait, I want to bite of the burger.
Man, you don't ever get a lettuce bun like me.
I don't care. I like all boyga.
You want a bite of the burger, huh?
Get the boyga.
All right.
A lettuce Larry is this dog.
I don't even want to show it on camera. They just make fun of my lettuce bun.
It's very beautiful.
They call me a West Coast California liberal. They say I want to dye my hair pink and
you're the liberal elite. Look at this fry. Where's the camera so I can zoom in? Here we go. Look at this smooth fry. I like soft fries. I don't like crunchy fries. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's tasty.
Yeah.
I noticed that I ordered 2 fries, and I only have 1 small cup of fries. So I assume there's a lot of fries out there.
I took the other cup for us, because that's what you ordered for us.
Yeah, but there should be like a big bag of fries. I assume like 100 fries.
Are you telling me you're going to eat more fries than that?
Yeah, this 1 tiny little cup.
That's crazy!
I'm so hungry. I'm like starving.
Oh, guys, he's crazy. Well, if you want more, just come get them. Go being a lazy ass.
I was looking forward to a heaping helping of fries, so I ordered a second one, and yet I only have this tiny little cup.
I thought you ordered the second one for us because you asked us.
I did order a second for you, but there should be a lot still.
Well, they're in the bag.
All right.
If you're looking for a video rec, I have one.
You have a video rec?
Yeah.
What is it? She's grinning like the Grinch.
I have to type it in because I don't really know.
What is it?
We have to finish this, right?
Yeah, but
Could you pull it up? Is it private over there?
Yeah, over there. What is it?
Okay, go to YouTube.
YouTube.com.
Yeah. And then type in this so I can get to the channel.
Okay.
I don't like your keyboard.
Yeah, you spelled every word wrong.
Wait, where's the video?
This is just Banjo Kazooie.
No. Wait, I'm trying to get to the channel. Wait, I think I remember his name.
She just looked up the soundtrack to Banjo Kazooie. I'm not kidding.
I think it's this guy.
Are you trying to figure out how to generate more?
Babe, I can't remember the channel. Why
is some guy who teaches you how to get sales leads?
No,
has 8K views.
why is your algo so stupid that you can't get good results? Well, maybe if I typed it correctly, right? Wait, what?
Play the song. Play the song.
I'm
play
like
the song.
losing it right now.
Babe, play the song.
No, because you're watching another video.
I just want to hear the song while I eat.
Wait, what's wrong with your algorithm?
Babe. This
Babe.
is not the algorithm.
Okay, there's a song where I look for it.
You didn't even click it.
Oh, I did click it. What is happening? Babe, where's the song? I mean, the video. What? Oh, it's a good video though. What? Babe, I'm like losing it right now. I am fucking. Oh, there. Okay, hey, Alex Yard, not Alex Ford. Okay, that was pretty close. Okay, and then you have this phone song. The video. It's like so on. This one. If you need to kill time. Okay? Like
Alright.
that one. It's like super interesting, but I don't know if it's because I don't know anything about music that it's interesting to me.
Thanks, babe. Yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah, alright. Thanks for the fries.
I definitely need some more. I'm already going. I already need them all. I need more fries. I'm not watching that fucking video for the life of me. What is this video? Has 30,000 views. It's about Donkey Kong Country 2 music. What the hell, bro? That wasn't part of my vows. I'm not gonna watch fucking 14-minute video on Donkey Kong Country 2 music. Watch it. Sounds lit. Maybe if I had fries. If I was full on fries, I could probably watch it. Fries, perhaps?
Okay.
We're just about to watch the video that you linked.
Truly think you got scammed.
No, really?
Yeah, because you ordered 2 cups, but I honestly think it's fewer than what you normally get with 1 cup.
Oh, Chad, this is the worst outcome.
Maybe you should have gone to bread instead of fucking lettuce.
She's pandering. She's actually pandering.
No, I agree.
She's pandering. I swear to God, she's pandering. That she has never once, not once, ever mentioned a lettuce bun. And now I told her that the chat likes it. She's pandering so hard. Holy shit, she's pandering, dude. Oh my God, she's fucking Rudy Giuliani talking about 9/11. Holy shit, I just got fucking pandered. I got debate lorded. Man, I'm so hungry. Unless she scamas me. Unless they scraped all the fries out and this is a prank. Because there's no fucking fries in this bag. This Five Guys has never done this to me. I gotta check right now. I'm sorry. I have to check. I have to know. 1 second. Wow, unironically, that is the least amount of fries Five Guys has ever put in a bag that I've ever purchased, and I bought 2 fries. That's fucked up. I actually feel cheated. I'm so hungry. Shrinkflation, bro. Shrinkflation. Maybe the driver ate them? I mean, it has the seal on it. I doubt it. Damn, that sucks. I'm so hungry. I'm like starving hungry. All right, let's watch the rest.
Any of the supplies they desperately needed. Then the fleet just sat there, deflated and listless. Commanders asked for orders, but Wonkyun had none. Though Busan itself was not far away, he didn't even send out scouts or reposition his fleet. Then, on the night of July 15th, guided by a full moon, the Japanese struck. Wonkyun's forces were in a disadvantageous position. His men were fatigued from lack of supply and demoralized.
It is funny. I'm sorry. I do get it. I'm thinking about it now. It is funny to order a lettuce bun for ostensibly health reasons and then wolf down as many fucking fries as you possibly can handle. It's like... That is funny, but end of the day, I like the lettuce bun. I think it's tasty is a thing. I like it. It's got that crisp texture. Like for me, it's such a habit that I just like it. It's not like...
Demoralized by their loss and the days of waiting. Caught off guard at night and without any sort of plan, they were no match for the organized and coordinated Japanese assault. Even abandoning ship couldn't save them, as those that made it to one of the nearby shores found themselves face to face with the Japanese army, who were silently waiting there for any stragglers who might try to escape, and were quickly cut down. Of the fleet Yi had so carefully built, only 12 ships escaped, saved by one of the sub-commanders who had tried to warn Wonkyun of the danger they faced. 157 Korean ships were lost that day, including every turtle ship ever built. So with only 12 ships left in the entire Navy, who did Korea call?
Bro! What a fucking colossal throw! What a shitheel! He has like 15 battles in a row, 0 losses. They get rid of him, they lose every turtle ship and 100 ships. That's such a massive, massive corruption bag fumble.
Call upon? Who else? But mere days after reinstating Yi as admiral, the court informed him that they were disbanding the navy. Yi responded thusly: "This humble subject still has 12 ships. However small the number may be, I solemnly swear I will be able to defend the sea if I prepare myself for death to resist the enemy." And so they let him.
Okay, I'm sure.
So Yi plotted
that on some level, some of this is maybe, I don't know, played up for this video. But if this is even 70% true, actually, I'm sure it's all true, but you know, whatever, there's details all out. If this is even close to true, this guy's one of the biggest Giga Chads in human history. That's crazy, dude. What a single-minded devotion to a country that has completely fucked you over so many times.
Pondered where he would make his.
Yeah, why has there not been a movie on this guy? Well, no, not about this guy. About the white guy who joins his ship and learns the power of friendship and teaches them the idea of turtle ships. Can I make a movie like that? Oh, that'd be sick as fuck, dude. Just like a white guy. Maybe we can get like, I don't know, Timothy Chalamet or something, and he like lands in Korea and he's like, what if you guys made a turtle type ship? Chris Pratt. Get Chris Pratt. Yeah, and his pet turtle. Yeah, that would be a sick fucking movie, dude. That is what I would watch.
Last stand. This would be it. This one decision would seal the fate of Korea. He studied charts and tides, and finally came to decide on Myeongyang, the Roaring Strait. This particular strait had a strong current, but unknown to the Japanese, its current had a strange property. Every 3 hours, it changed direction. It was upon this unusual current that Yi would gamble everything. On September 16th, the Japanese fleet, looking to destroy the final remnant of the Korean Navy, found Yi's scouts at the mouth of the strait. They chased the scouts into the strait, and that's when Yi fell upon them. Yi's flagship dashed into their midst, roaring cannon and tearing through Japanese timber. But his ship fought alone. The rest of his navy, possessed by fear at facing such a large force, had lagged behind. Eventually, though, seeing the havoc Yi's ship was wreaking on the enemy,
they ran the same gambit again.
Messengers were sent from boat to boat with a mix of inspirational words, threats, and the hope of victory. And soon, the rest of Yi's tiny armada dove into the fray. Then a stroke of luck. The enemy flagship was blown apart by friendly fire, and the Japanese began to waver. Some of their ships began to turn about to fall back. And it was just at this moment that the water's current turned. The strait was too narrow for all the Japanese ships to maneuver around each other, and with the current roaring against them, ship slammed into ship. They tried in vain to retreat, tangled, ships smashing into one another, screams and chaos, and over it all, the roaring water. With the current now on their side, the Koreans gave chase, laying into enemy ships on either side. A hail of fire and arrows. The Japanese boats burnt and sank. 133 vessels had come to crush this tiny remnant of Korean Navy, and 31 of them wouldn't be returning. Yi, even when facing odds of 10-1, had once again not lost a single ship.
Jesus Christ!
Word of Yi's victory spread. As his tiny fleet sailed, one by one, other ships began to show up. Ships that had been thought lost. Ships that had been hiding after the previous disaster under Woncheon. These ships now came to join Yi's tiny armada. Refugees flocked to where Yi's ships were anchored, willingly giving him food, cloth, and iron. And perhaps most importantly, the Chinese, who had mostly limited their naval efforts to guarding ports until now, decided that they could work with the Korean Navy and take the offensive. And so we'll leave Yi rebuilding the Korean Navy until next week, when we see the Japanese invasion ended for good.
All right, one more. I assume this is the last one? What a goat. What an absolute goat. What an insane last stand. You'd think with boats, there's just not that much you can do to beat great numbers. In my mind, it's like, because you have such less flexibility, you'd think an admiral couldn't overcome those kind of odds. It's funny because Atrioc would never have watched this if it was one 45-minute video. That's absolutely so true. But because they broke into a bunch of 7-minute videos, I will keep clicking them in a row until the video is done.
When we left off, Yi had crushed the Japanese at the Battle of Myeongyang and was busy rebuilding the Korean Navy after their disastrous losses while he was being falsely accused. Now, just as he's beginning to coordinate with the Chinese Navy on how to prosecute the war, something major happens. Maybe the one event that can truly change the course of this war. Hideyoshi dies. 6 years and 4 months after the fateful Japanese landing on Korea, the man who started it all, the man who envisioned a vast Asian empire radiating out from Japan, died. This was a sea change. Hideyoshi had been holding the Japanese in Korea by sheer force of will. As soon as he died, the council of men who ran Japan in his stead all looked at one another and said, "Does anyone here actually want to keep fighting Korea? Okay, show of hands, who wants to stay in Korea? Nobody? All right then." With that, they agreed to pull the Japanese forces out of there as soon as they could negotiate a deal which would let them withdraw their forces safely. But the Koreans were not so eager for peace after seeing hundreds of thousands of their countrymen slaughtered during Hideyoshi's invasion. So Admiral Yi continued to coordinate with the Chinese forces to bottle up the Japanese in one of their last strongholds, the port of Suncheon. The Chinese army closed around the city on land, and the Korean and Chinese navies blockaded the port. Seeing the situation as hopeless, the Japanese commander decided the best option he had left was to try to bribe everybody. But each time it seemed as though he was succeeding in bribing the Chinese contingents, Yi shamed them into falling back in line. Seeing no hope of peaceful retreat, the Japanese commander had one last plan. He dispatched a messenger boat to slip through the Chinese lines and tell the other major Japanese garrison to deploy all their ships and rendezvous with him as they tried to break their way through the Chinese and Korean blockade. But Yi got word of this plan and knew that he must prepare. The next night, November 15th, 1598, long after the sun had fallen below the horizon and the water had faded from blue to deep black, Yi told his forces to slip away from the blockade. They would try to intercept the reinforcing fleet in the fateful Noryang Strait. Near 2 a.m., the joint Korean and Chinese fleet fell upon the resting Japanese ships. At first it was chaos, cannon lighting up the water at night, but soon the Japanese tried to regroup. Despite being caught off guard, they still had 500 ships to the combined 150 of Yi and the Chinese. And moreover, they were fueled by desperation. If they lost here, who knows if they'd ever see Japan again.
Right.
But the Allied forces had two advantages going for them as well. For one, they had once again caught the Japanese in a strait where they could not easily maneuver their massive fleet. And two, even if they could maneuver, many of their ships were transports, which were only useful for boarding and arquebus fire in a fight. In desperation, the Japanese attacked, driving their ships through the withering hail of the enemy cannonade. Unfortunately for Yi, the Chinese commander, who wasn't used to fighting the Japanese and had no...
The fucking audio cut out again. The fucking audio cut out.
Ships through the withering hail of the enemy cannonade. Unfortunately for Yi, the Chinese commander, who wasn't used to fighting the Japanese and had no experience with Yi's long-range form of naval warfare, charged forward to meet the Japanese fleet and prepared to engage them in hand-to-hand combat. The Chinese commander was surrounded. Dozens of Japanese ships descended on the Chinese flagship. Yi ordered his own ship to attempt a rescue. Yi's flagship plunged into the midst of the enemy. He was committed now. It would be fierce, close combat the rest of the way. Exactly the type of fight Yi had always tried to avoid. The vessels were so close that unarmed Korean sailors began throwing bundles of burning sticks down on the enemy decks. As Yi's ship broke through the waves, he spotted 3 of the enemy's admirals standing on the deck of one of the Japanese ships attacking his ally. And so, Yi drew his bow and loosed. One of the admirals fell. For a moment...
No way. No way is this true. I don't... That actually doesn't... That's crazy. Yi personally shot another admiral with an arrow while also fucking...
But there was almost a silence in the midst of the fighting, as everybody looked to see where that arrow had come from. Then one of the Japanese admirals roused himself from his shock and shouted that it was Yi. All the ships must attack Yi. All the Japanese vessels turned and began to give chase to Yi's flagship. But now it was the Chinese admiral's turn to take action, and his ships tore into the vessels pursuing Yi. Soon the fight was on the deck of the Chinese flagship, Chinese Dao sparking against Japanese katana. In the end, the Japanese boarding parties were repelled, but many from both sides lay dead on the deck. As dawn began to bring light back to the scene, everyone could see how badly the Japanese were faring. They attempted to flee, but Yi would have none of it. These people who had come to his land, who had despoiled his home, who had slaughtered his people and endangered his nation, no, he would not let them flee. He grabbed the mallet from the ship's drummer and began to beat the war drum himself, urging his ships to go ever faster. The haunting echo of the drum pushed the fleet on. Its beat hounded the Japanese, bit at their heels. His fleet moved like it never had before, the drum steadily beating like the call of the god of war. They were upon the Japanese. Cannons roared, arquebuses answered. Shouts and screams were heard as ship after ship was caught by the pursuing fleet, possessed by the beat of the drums of war. But then, just for an instant, the drums faltered. Seen by no one but his son, his nephew, and a loyal servant, Yi had been struck by a stray arquebus ball. They rushed to his side as he slumped against the drum, trying to aid him, asking if there was anything they could do. With his last breath, he said to them, "We are about to win this war. Keep beating the drum. Do not let anyone know of my death." His son picked up the mallet and continued the beat. Dressed in Yi's armor, his son and his nephew took up the command.
Oh,
For hours, they were Yi, commanding as he would, with all his ability and skill. None of Yi's officers ever realized he had fallen until, as the battle was closing, the Chinese flagship was once again surrounded. Yi's son ordered his ship into the thick. They darted forward, breaking the cordon around the Chinese flagship, helping the Chinese to escape. The fighting was fierce, but it was near the last of it. And as the day closed, the Chinese admiral sailed toward Yi's flagship and called out to thank Yi for saving him, to invite Yi to celebrate the glorious day together. But he was met by Yi's son.
Sad.
Instantly, he knew what had happened, and 3 times he threw himself to the deck, wailing and crying out, "Even after death, you saved my life." This was the last battle of the war. 300 Japanese ships were destroyed or captured. After this, the remaining Japanese garrisons would either be captured one by the Chinese and Korean forces, or slip back to Japan to fight one last struggle before Tokugawa's ascension as shogun. At last, the Imjin War was at an end. Hideyoshi's dream of a Japanese empire was broken. Korea was free, but Yi would never see it. Thousands turned out to see his body returned to his small home village. People lined the road and wailed at the passing of a man they may never have met. The Chinese admiral wrote for him a eulogy, and even the court and the king tried to make their recompense. And so passed the man so ill-treated in life, so often demoted and accused, the man who would forever be known as the martial lord of loyalty.
Great series. And a really cool story about Admiral Yi. I learned more about his incredible exploits. The comments are pretty funny. Daddy, are there any real life superheroes? Son, let me tell you the story of Admiral Yi. Who's your favorite Korean idol? Who do you idolize? Admiral Yi Sun Shin. Pretty incredible. Pretty incredible. That was extra history. Men used to fight in wars. Now they just eat burgers with lettuce. I don't think Admiral Yi ate a burger at all. Do you know what I'm saying? I think he probably had a healthy dose of vegetables. I don't think Admiral Yi was chowing down on big fucking burgers, bro. Admiral Yi, I need more men. Atrioc, I need more fries. Stop comparing me to Admiral Yi. Okay? We're in a different time. Okay? I'm not being called to serve in the same way as Admiral Yi Sun Shin to defend his country. Admiral Eats. Chat sounding like my parents right now. That's funny. Anyway, great video. I'm glad I watched it, even if I would not have because of the length. Do we have any more? Do we have any more great videos? Oh, we can watch Ari's video. Let's watch Ari's video because I might go out there and talk to her. Even though talking to girls is cringe. Let's see.
Donkey Kong music makes a lasting impression, even among people that haven't kept up with gaming after the 90s. The soundtrack excels at speaking to the heart universally, using a rock and roll song structure to design a compelling emotional buildup. The track Mining Melancholy excels on this front, kicking things off with a metallic drum solo that's impossible to look away from. It throws you into the chaos of the mine immediately. Why bother with the drum set if you can just bang on mining equipment? It's fun to find the rhythms embedded in everyday objects, like the musical theater show Stomp. It debuted a couple years before DKC, captivating audiences by banging on things with brooms, newspapers,
I
and
did
a
hear
kitchen
about
sink.
this.
Hopefully someday they perform
This was
Mining
popular for-
Melancholy on these trash can lids.
You saw Stomp?
And
You've
any
seen
deja
it?
vu you're feeling might be because the sound used as the snare drum is adapted from a sound effect in the first game of the minecart hitting the track, which is one of many sounds in the clamor of crashing steel, a drum section so elaborate that at times it takes up to 5 of the total 8 sound channels in a Super Nintendo. We're especially inclined to soak in all this rich detail in the drum part because it's the only instrument in the first 15 seconds. This is quite different from games like Mario, where at the very start of the level, all the instruments are in full force. The kind of song that just screams, "This is a video game," jumping into the lead melody immediately.
Okay. This is a great song.
Whereas Mining Melancholy is an
Makes you
audio
earn it.
adventure to be unraveled, with a verse-chorus-verse structure that adds musical layers as you progress through the underground. The track's rounded off by a drum intro and a pre-chorus that gives the final chorus more impact. So there you have it. This might as well be a track on a rock album. This format makes the verse's introduction of the bass a mini-event in itself.
It's very obviously a
not
video
just
game
another
song.
instrument lost in the mix.
Okay, the thing you guys have to understand about Ari is that she fucking loves the soundtrack to Donkey Kong Country 2. And in fact, loves this game in general. This is like the only game that her and her brother played growing up. Well, it is, I'm sure, a fine soundtrack. I don't know that I need to know this much about it.
And the electric bass gets us that buzzier sound, which is a modern upgrade of the classical upright bass, which is a wooden, natural-sounding instrument used widely in the natural forest environments of the first game.
I do love this song.
But deep underground, the electric bass is fitting for the man-made industrial environment of the mines.
This one kind of goes dumb
the
hard.
muted bass technique. Instead of letting
what
the notes
song is that? I
ring,
want to put that in the
you sort of
background.
Stop them soon after they start by applying constant pressure with the side of your strumming hand, or just take a sponge and jam it under the strings. This gives the bass a new agility alongside the enemies and laborers scurrying their way around the dangerous depths. And this smooth bass line supports a subtle chordal motion in a 2-chord vamp of 1 and 4, but not just any 4, because this pair of chords is formed with the Dorian scale, which takes the minor scale and upgrades the 6 to major.
Ah, yes. The Dorian chords.
We usually build the 4 chord by starting on the root 4, and then by doing 2 skips, it tacks on the 6 and 1,
usually
which makes
do
for
any
a
of
minor
this.
triad chord. But the Dorian 6th upgrade to a sharp 6 turns this into a major triad instead. This powered up 4 chord cultivates.
Babe! Ari! Fuck, I don't think you hear me.
Cultivates a cool, sleek energy in the opening areas. Especially considering what it would have sounded like in the natural minor scale instead. The natural minor scale can get depressing if you're not careful, so Dorian upgrades like these can be a convenient remedy. And there's 2 chords in this sequence,
I'm
but this particular
uncultured. I can
combo
barely hear
isn't
the
designed to
difference.
generate a lot of motion. After all, the 1 and 4 chords both contain the 1, which cuts down on the traveling required to move between the chords. And this lack of motion is also seen in the way the 1 chord takes up most of the measure, with the chord change only occurring briefly on beat 4. So it works out that it moves from chords 1 to 4 on beats 1 and 4,
right?
And you have a 1 in 4 chance of getting hit by the 4th hook enemy in the flying section. Because unlike the first few, it throws the hook right after catching it with barely a cooldown. Very dangerous. When we consider all the notes in the Dorian scale, the 2 triads we're switching between contain 5 out of the 7 tones. And every other 1 chord slides the top note up to the 7.
Why does
with
she
the
think I
result
would
that
watch
it's touching
this or
upon
want to
almost
watch
the
this?
entire scale. So it's less about generating motion and more so an opportunity to absorb the Dorian sound as an overall cloud of rock dust. And when the song does hit us with very real chord changes in the chorus, it hits extra hard because we had been hanging out for so long in that stationary lobby.
Oh shit. Chord change?
These chord changes are purposefully designed to express the natural minor scale in its full glory, which is everything we'd expect in a cavern of minors. Because this purely minor scale derives its identity from the minor 3rd, 6th, and 7th. You can do a whole lot of exciting things just by moving between chords built on roots in this range. It's a busy thoroughfare with a lot of compositional potential.
This is a very niche. I must be
These chords
honest.
show up in Sonic 3's Ice Cap, in a different order, but achieving a similar dramatic effect. Mining Melancholy delivers these chords as a dose of reality about the mines, hazards of rock dust and machinery, and living altogether deprived of life's sunlight.
I just like this song.
The bass line was nimble in the verse, but then the chorus levels out the floor by hammering the root note of each chord, forming horizontal lines along the platforms you climb to escape the level.
No. No.
And you probably noticed something different about this bass line,
I
because
don't
most
believe
games'
it.
bass tend to sound like this.
No.
But when this game came out, hearing the bass with this special effect was grounds for a double take. This should be impossible. The Super Nintendo simply was not designed to generate sounds like these, but it did happen thanks to the drive of composer David Wise. The SNES creates instruments by taking a single sound and pitch shifting it to create all the different notes in the scale.
Oh, interesting.
But this process doesn't leave room to layer on effects like cutoff frequency modulation, which at the time was created on electric bass synthesizers like these.
So what did he do?
David Wise maneuvered around this.
David Wise got me acting unwise. You are, what is, you are so sexually attracted to David Wise that you can't contain yourself. Looks like a mid-40s Costanza haircut type dude. He just, David Thighs. I see. Okay. I'm not judging. I'm just wondering what about him is so.
Limitation through the use of direct recording.
His music.
The SNES can play compressed recordings of anything. That's how some games were able to use voice clips.
Well, are you still playing this thing?
The trade-off is that these samples take up considerable storage space in the game. Wise took a true recording of the squelchy bass line and captured it in the form of tiny samples. Playing them in sequence on the hardware generates this seamless frequency modulation effect.
Oh man, cool. Wait.
He's poured this kind of creative innovation into numerous soundtracks and genres. And prior to composing for games, he'd aspired to become a famous drummer-turned-songwriter, like Phil Collins of the rock band Genesis. This is evident in the very Phil Collins-y tracks he composed for DKC2. Phil's most iconic song is In the Air Tonight, which draws out a long dramatic build with this subdued beat. A strikingly similar beat made its way into the Swamp theme, Bayou Boogie.
Assume Bayou?
And In the Air Tonight's legendary moment is the over-the-top drum fill at the very end of this 3-minute slow build, launching into the eponymous lyric. And Mike Tyson must love the equivalent drum fill in Mining Melancholy. But we can only guess whether Mike would be amused or outraged after the final boss, when the game takes a jab at Sonic. But anyone can enjoy these upward arpeggios. It's a lot of rapid notes in quick succession, but they don't get in the way because every single one of these notes is either 1, 3, or 5.
Sure.
That's all the ingredients of a 1 chord, making this arpeggio very stable.
I didn't think it was going to get in the way either way.
Toward the mind's
I would have put a 4 in there. This part I love the most.
But it's not going to be a cakewalk because a diamond mine's not really a place you go for a happily ever after. And when the chord changes get going, the song does what it can to deny the listener a straightforward resolution on the 1 chord. You can see this part of the chorus does end on the 1 chord, but with the extra baggage of adding the 9 at first. It seems like there's always one more boulder you gotta clear out of the way.
What?
And in the second run-through, we don't even reach that point, because the last measure is cut off entirely, instead shoving us back into the verse without warning.
This part's best.
The mines wait for no one, so you better keep up or else get crushed by equipment or collapsing caves. Later on, though, the final chorus provides the full, uninterrupted conclusion, keeping that last measure intact.
Sure.
This section is the emotional core of the coal miner's lament, using a solemn lead instrument that almost resembles a human voice, a choir of despondent laborers holding out hope for a better tomorrow.
Is this a joke?
When we do finally arrive at that conclusive one chord, the news is not good.
The news is not good?
That's it. The final statement. There's no hope, no path to get out. This is the reality of life in the mines now. Diddy might escape, but the eternal march of the daily grind continues underground. But at least you have the song's
It's a dancing monkey, dude.
drum beat to keep up your energy. That is, unless you're in the Game Boy Advance version of this level, which tries its hardest to recreate the metal clamor by using a cowbell and a tambourine hi-hat thing.
Doesn't do it justice.
But nothing can touch the original with its deliberate use of echo, a technique seen widely on consoles of this generation. The SNES sound chip has a dedicated module that duplicates an instrument, decreases the volume, then nudges that forward for the delay echo. For example, here's how the snow level percussion sounds alone, then with the echo added.
Okay. Oh, I see.
But mining Melancholy's delay offset is only a quick 16 milliseconds. Compare that to the 48 millisecond echo delay of Hothead Bop and In a Snowbound Land, a longer echo cycle that works in the more open environments of those levels. But the mines require a briefer echo as you slink through the cramped and claustrophobic underground. The first level you hear this track is Cannon's Claim, a play on the mining term claim, which is a parcel of land on which someone asserts a right to develop and extract a mineral deposit.
Wait, I'm getting
and you already
fucking
knew
trolled.
That. But the French
I'm
version of
getting
the game has a
trolled.
different name for this level,
La complète de canon.
which translates to Cannon's Complaint, perhaps in anticipation of the complaints from players
I'm getting
who spent
trolled.
hours looking for the DK coin, all to find it was actually in the bonus stage all along. But there weren't any complaints about this game's music or the graphics. Between David Wise,
I think my fucking wife just trolled me. Wait, I want to find it. Wait. Babe, did you troll me with that video? What video? The song video. That was so great. You really like that video? Maybe it's because I don't know anything about music. What was wrong with it? It felt like it was taking the piss. You know, it felt like it was made up. Like it was like, this really reminds me of the struggle of the miners.
That was really weird, but it's like, it's actually a good song.
Right?
I swear I wasn't trolling. I would not waste your time like that.
She says unironically she loved it and said it was a good video. That's crazy. Everything he's saying is real music theory? Well, there you go. All right. Well, oh, we can look at the comments. Let's see. Yeah, they're all positive. I mean, it's not a huge video, but what is the song? I just want to play the song once. I didn't get to hear it once. Let's listen to the song together one time and just really enjoy it. Freedom. I hear the miners. Oh, this part goes hard. listening to the whole thing, I kind of get what he was saying legit. I think it's a great song. I really like it. I don't hear the despair. The despair's coming! Wait! It's gonna leave us with nothing but despair at the end! We're calling out for an answer. Ah! The bad news! I fell to my knees. Bro, that's literally in the air tonight. That was literally, that was like literally the Phil Collins. That's funny. All right. Well, there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now 10:52. I'm going to be ending stream today. We did not get to house, but because tomorrow is a Sunday, and normally I don't stream, but I'm on a streak, I will be doing house Sundays. Where hopefully I've completely finished my predictions by Sunday, so I can just be free on Monday to chill and relax and work out. We're going to do house Sundays tomorrow. Thanks for watching today. It was a fun Get Smarter Saturdays. I do feel like one of our most productive ones. I learned a lot. If you have any great history videos, put them on the Reddit or link them to me something, because I'm definitely watching them while I work. They're very fun. Sevens. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you sincerely. Again, we're coming close to February. Hopefully we have a lot of good videos coming up. We'll see. Good night. Have a great weekend if I don't see you. Bye. Oh, Raid Dr. Battle? For sure. Raid Dr. Battle. Go. Dr. Battle is going to give a live presentation on the Finland elections tomorrow. Is it Finland? Yeah. Finland is having an election tomorrow. Very important. He is going to give a very deep and powerful presentation. Just ask him about it. He'll do it live. It's going to be really good. You'll be super informed. All right, bye.